Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Welcome back to Movie Mornings. I'm your host, Martino, and today we're going to be talking about pretty much the year of 2022, including the entertainment industry, kind of things that we went back and watched from past times in 2022, and also new movies, new TV shows in 2022, how the year has been in general. And I'm very excited to get into all of it. But before we get started, please hit the like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, and hit that bell for notifications. And I think a lot of you are going to be excited about my guest today. Hopefully she's still here and her internet didn't crap out on me. But it's Samee Ramirez. Samee, how's it going? You're here. You're here.
Hello, did my internet crap out on you? I'm
no,
here.
You're here. You're
Hello.
Here. Yeah. All right.
Am I? Am I?
100%.
All right.
I think so.
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Samee's.
Maybe. I have awful. My internet doesn't do anything except search the internet.
It's okay.
So we're here.
It's okay.
And I'm happy to be. Hello.
I'm so happy you're here.
Talk about the year. It's been a year.
I get a lot of
half a year.
I get a lot of feedback and reception on this show, and obviously the biggest thing I get is that I'm too sexy for the camera. But the second biggest thing I get is how's Samee doing, and everybody wants to know. So I'm happy that you're here. So yeah, that's awesome.
It's doing good.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's been an interesting year, 2022. I think in general for the industry and all that. So something that I wanted to definitely get into to start with was, what are some things, I know one of the big ones that you're going to be talking about here today, what are some things in 2022 from like a pastime that you went back and watched it just recently? Like, what are some things that stand out to you?
Right, things that did not come out this year, but watched this year. Correct, nonetheless, yes. Having an impact no matter what. So yeah, that's the Clone Wars. So I'm a huge Star Wars fan and had just never really seen the Clone Wars, which is weird because it came out when I was a kid at the perfect time. And I remember seeing Ahsoka and just loving her. I was like, is that a girl Jedi? Is that a girl with a lightsaber? She's Anakin's Padawan. Like, what? I need to watch this. But I never actually did. But this year, and speaking of Ahsoka, it's really been the fact that the Ahsoka series is coming out very soon next year, sometime. We don't know when, probably like spring next year. And I'm very excited for that. And I got caught up. So I just started season 5 and I'm loving it. I love it so much. I mean, there's some episodes here and there where I'm like, this is for children, I can tell. And they have to do some things here and there that I don't love. But really, the majority of it, I really do find a lot of things to love. And end the episode being like, wow, I really enjoyed that.
That's awesome. I've been trying to get you to watch the Clone Wars for so long, and you finally took to it, and I'm so happy.
I know.
And now we can geek out together.
It's just so long. I know.
Yeah.
That is the thing. It's so long, but I once I got in, I really locked in.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And I'm so happy about that. So the question I have for you is, are you going to watch Rebels after Clone Wars? It is like the direct sequel to Clone Wars, Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Rebels. I'm so happy. Yeah, because I think you'll have an easier time.
That's the plan, 100%.
You'll have an easier time getting right into Rebels, I think, as well. So that's something I definitely recommend for you. And the cool thing now is, and I'll tell you about this, you're about to geek out.
Thrawn, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I haven't read Heir to the Empire. That's on my list because I have really been I've been going deep. I've been watching Star Wars shows, comics, books, podcasts, all of it. I've been really in the thick of it recently of Star Wars. And so we're working through it. But yeah, 100%. I know Thrawn's incredible. It's on my list. And like everyone says that season 3, right, of Rebels is when he comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That's some of the best Star Wars from that point on in Rebels.
Yeah.
So I'm in. That sold me. We're here.
Yeah.
Other than it's just a continuation of Ahsoka and everything.
Thrawn is such an essential villain. I mean, I would say it's like Darth Vader, Darth Maul, and Thrawn are got to be in the top 3. He's so good, and I'm so happy that you're finally in this realm of the shared universe that Dave Filoni has really blessed upon us. And one of the cool things that I did recently, and you're going to geek out about this, is there was an actual 4.5 hour cut of Revenge of the Sith. And it's basically
Oh, really?
Well, a fan made it, and he cuts in the last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars into Revenge of the
With like
Sith.
all the deleted scenes put together and stuff like
And
that.
deleted scenes are in there, and it's just it's all cut together in such a cool way. And once you're done with Clone Wars, I'm going to send that over to you so you can watch it, and it's because it's really
Lit.
really cool.
Nice.
So yeah, it was. I actually just watched it recently, and because I have the Oculus, I hooked it up to my PC and I put the cut on in like the movie theater setting, in VR. So it was just super cool to watch that way. But anyway, I'm gonna send that cut to you when you're done with the Clone Wars, and then that way you can geek out about it as much as I've been, because that is the way to watch Revenge of the Sith. It's like the Snyder cut of Revenge of the Sith. It's amazing. So much context.
Yeah, because that's what I mean, because I have been a Disney Plus subscriber since literally day one. And so I have heard like small spoilers about season 7 of Clone Wars, and the fact that like like the last couple episodes are literally like what Ahsoka was doing, right? Kind of during Revenge of the Sith time.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Oh, and that's exactly what it is. It's
I know a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that sounds awesome. I feel like I would want to watch it. Yeah. Having that all pieced together. Hell yeah.
I can't wait till you get there, and we could talk about that for sure. So the things that I've been watching this year that I hadn't taken to before. So I started. It's still an ongoing show, but I watched Only Murders in the Building finally, and I think it's one of the best shows on TV. I don't know if you've gotten into that yet, but it's really, really good.
I haven't. It's been recommended to me though before.
Yeah,
and I've heard it's really good, and I love the main 3 so much already.
Right?
So.
Yeah, I mean Steve Martin and Martin Short are rock stars of comedy.
Selena Gomez.
Yeah, and so I was nervous about Selena Gomez, but she holds her own so well in this show.
Oh, to me, she is also a rock star of comedy. I was a Wizards of Waverly Place kid for sure.
See,
I already knew her comedic chops were there.
I don't have that. I don't have Wizards of Waverly Place, so I didn't know how to feel. But no, I'm super impressed with her. I've become a major Selena Gomez fan now. Just in terms of her acting chops, she's very, very good. I mean, she's got a song or two I like too, but I mean, her acting chops are very good, and her comedic chops, you're not wrong, are extremely, extremely good. And she did very, very well in that. So. The other one I watched was a movie called, you've probably heard of this. It's called Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, speaking of Steve Martin. And it's Steve Martin and Michael Caine.
I've heard of that movie, yes. No idea what it's about. Okay.
So it's Frank Oz who directed What About Bob and is also the voice.
I know Frank Oz.
Right.
Yes.
He directed.
I was like, you don't got to tell me who Frank Oz is. Yeah.
He directed it. Right. And so it's honestly amazing, and it's one of my new favorite comedies now because of it. But Steve Martin and Michael Caine do such a good job in that movie together. And Jose, because I was talking to this with him a little bit, basically told me that they've remade this movie, and the remake is that movie like it's like Hustle or something like that, and it's got Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson. Do you remember that
Rebel Wilson,
out?
I've heard of that.
And
yes.
It completely
did not see it, but I remember.
I didn't see it either, but apparently that's like a pseudo sort of remake of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, so I thought that was interesting. But Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, highly recommend. It's on HBO Max. If you ever get the chance, give it a watch along with the Only Murders in the Building. I think is just fantastic. I think both of those are great.
It's weird. I knew that movie exists, and I know Frank Oz is a director, but I never knew that Frank Oz directed that movie.
Yeah, that and What About Bob? The only 2 movies I've seen of his that he directed, and I love them both, and they're both great, stellar comedies with a lot of smarts behind them. I would actually reckon you'll probably like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels more than What About Bob. I have nostalgia for What About Bob, so that's always going to be higher. But I can objectively say Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is more clever, more well made,
like a better film.
Yeah, objectively, I could say that without a doubt. And so I highly recommend Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. It's just it is funny, but it's just super smart too. It's so cleverly written, and I think that. I think that's why Only Murders in the Building made me so happy, because it's Steve Martin getting back into the type, and Martin Short getting back to the types of comedies they used to do, which is just really cleverly written material, along with it's got a great narrative along with the comedy that they bring. So it's wonderful. So both of those, I guess I'm on a Steve Martin kick, and Dave, who's on our show all the time, also told me he was watching The Jerk recently, so he's been on a Steve Martin kick as well. So
I've heard that's incredible. I know I've never seen that either.
The Jerk is great.
Yeah, no, I know. Isn't Bernadette Peters is in that, right?
Pretty positive. Yeah. I haven't seen that in a minute.
Curly redhead.
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, that's her. Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty positive she is the curly redhead in that movie. Yeah.
Yes, because I love her. And I think I've seen a scene from it. So they sing in it. I think I've seen that scene, and that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. They do sing in it, that's for sure. So that's probably her. I don't have a fact check thing right now. Otherwise, I'd fact check us. But yeah. But anyway, so that's pretty much all the stuff I think that I can think of that really stood out to me that I've kind of taken to from, years prior, those two projects for sure. And I'm happy I did. So I gotta say though, nice. and I don't know how much since you've left the podcast or left the channel that you've kept up with movie news and things of that nature, but
here and there,
I
think I know the gist of a lot of things.
It's been a wild year though. I think like there's been a lot of weird things happening. I
know like DC's going crazy right now.
My God,
that's a thing going on, right?
What do you? What's your take on the Ezra Miller situation? I want to know.
Oh, I do not give a single shit, honestly, about Ezra Miller. I'm like, it's not that I have no respect for him as what he's done as an actor, because I feel like that's a big thing people throw around a lot. And I'm like, I get it. He was really good in those movies, but whatever. Yeah. If we can cancel Batgirl, we can cancel The Flash. That's kind of what I say. Just cancel it. Who gives a shit? We'll get over it. Make a new one.
Yeah.
Just reboot it.
Yeah.
We'll get over it. That's how I feel.
Fair enough.
Because stop drag. I hate seeing this man's face on Twitter every day. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm whatever I can do to stop that.
Yeah.
Is what I want.
I don't know. I've been so torn on this.
But also DC is pretty in a rough state right now though. So it's also I don't know if I trust them to do the right thing.
I think that's part of why it's so hard for them to cancel the Flash movie is because the word has been that it really is one of the most incredible things they've made, and the problem
and I've been hearing rumors about a Flashpoint movie since I feel 2014.
I know. And they haven't they've had such a hard time making it because of Ezra Miller, as it turns out. I mean, with his choice of directors, but apparently Andy Muschietti made a really good movie, and I think that's why they're having a hard time canceling that movie. I mean, Batgirl.
Was Michael Keaton supposed to be in this movie too? Wasn't that a thing?
Yeah, he's in it.
Was this one?
He's still in it. Did you not the teaser? He's in the teaser. He narrates it. The teaser trailer they dropped it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember if he narrated. I was like, I feel like I would have remembered his face. They didn't show his face. He just narrates it.
They didn't show his face. They showed the back of his thing, and then they teased that
he came in and recorded some stuff, or he from his bathroom sat on his phone and recorded some narration.
But
not saying it was bad, but
I mean, let me just say though, at CinemaCon, and I wasn't there, but I heard what happened, that they dropped the trailer for it at CinemaCon that we haven't seen yet. The public hasn't seen it. Okay. But the trailer had a clip of Michael Keaton saying, "We want to get nuts, let's get nuts," and I guess everybody went crazy over that. So that's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know.
That would have been really cool to be in that room.
I think I have a theory. My theory is that this thing's going to be repackaged as a Batman movie. I think they're kind of doing that right now, because what's insane that came out is that Ezra Miller was going to work during all this insanity on reshoots for this thing. So they had him come in to do reshoots for a reason, right? And my theory is they're
you would think.
Well, they're going to multiverse his ass out at the end of the movie, guaranteed.
As they should.
They're going to if you know the Flashpoint storyline, they can easily maneuver that storyline to multiverse his ass out of there, bring in somebody new to do the Flash. It's not going to be a huge deal if that happens, honestly. I could see them doing that, and that's my theory. But I think they're going to call this Batman and the Flash. They're going to repackage it somehow, so the attention is off of Ezra Miller. That's been my theory, but I don't know. I'm just this kid is insane. Get him off the street, which apparently he's getting help now. Let's hope so.
Yeah, let's hope so.
That's good.
I mean, honestly, it's not that I don't want good things for him. I hope he gets better. Yeah. It's just this is a movie, my guy. Let's just move. Can we move on?
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm tired of it too, because we have to talk about this stuff on here, so it gets
Yeah.
very tiring.
And we've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah.
It's been years,
Yeah.
years of our lives.
I think my problem with it, without getting too much into the sort of drama of the whole thing, is I understand, because David Zaslav bought Warner Brothers now.
Right.
He kind of acquired the problem. But I think my issue with this whole thing is the fact that they've been silent about it from the start. Because you and I were talking about him choking that girl 2 years ago, I feel like
Yeah.
on the show. So they were silent then. And there's a point where your silence becomes approval. That's my opinion of it. Like, I really feel that way. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that they have to be the most moral people in the world over at Warner Brothers, but on the same hand, there's a point though where your silence becomes approval. I think eventually it's going to get misread that way, and I think the longer they draw out the release, which they pushed it to summer 2023, the worse it's going to get, right? Because, or the more you're risking the situation getting worse. So if the movie's done, get it out there, fast track it, because if it's done and if it's as incredible as they say it is, put it out. Why are we waiting? That's where I'm at with it.
And to be honest, this is kind of like the post-pandemic world, the post-Panini world we live in now, where it kind of, but it's the point of, or I think like in regular minds and regular time, we'd be like, oh, throw this on streaming or something, so that way it just kind of gets buried. But to be honest, I feel like if you throw this out in the summer, especially if it's like sandwiched between other big releases, that might make it less money. So it's kind of the thing of how that's a movie that a lot of people might check out if it's on, HBO Max randomly. But I don't know if there's a lot of people who are going to be loving the fact that they have to spend, $12 on a ticket to see the Ezra Miller Flash movie.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be a backfire.
I get you.
If it goes to theaters.
But I also think
just flops. It pulls like a Morbius, you know what I mean? How that just flopped.
Yeah.
Nobody gave a shit. Yeah.
True. But I also kind of wonder like how much people are really in on the Ezra Miller stuff. You know what I mean? I know it because I pay attention.
No fair.
But how much does the general public...
I feel like there's a general negativity around his name. Like people know that he did something generally negative.
Okay. Yeah. I just don't know. I'm unaware because I'm not in that public eye, but I feel like they put out a trailer with Michael Keaton coming back as Batman. It's going to make money. And I understand why they're so hesitant on just
you're
pulling it. You know what I mean? Because
that's the rub. That's the Michael Keaton rub.
And I'm excited about that, and I think all drama aside, I do think Ezra Miller's talented. I like his Flash. I thought he was great in the Snyder Cut stuff that we saw, especially. I mean, it was a massive improvement upon a lot of the things that were in the original Justice League. Like, we did see that he's a worthy Flash, I think, in my opinion, but that's my take. The other thing that's interesting is, because then you have, on top of that, you got the Aquaman situation, which there's a whole thing there with Amber Heard, and I don't know.
Again, I'm the same. I'm like, I don't care. Cut her out, put her in. Who gives a shit? Like, people are going to be mad no matter what you do. I feel like more people would probably be mad if she's in it, and they'd probably like boo and stuff if they go to see it, or they might tell people to boycott it because of it. But like, even if she's not in it, like, there's still going to be issues. People are still going to be like, I can't believe they'd let politics like influence this shit. I don't know. They'll probably remove her. I don't know why they want it. I feel like in the business meetings, there's probably like this back and forth, and they're like, guys, listen, it's just not worth it. It's all become a political game too. That's it really is issue. Which is wild that these people, like, defamation case is such like this polarizing situation. That's a wild thing that happened this year. That's gonna be a thing that 2022 is remembered for.
Were you watching the trial? Were you keeping up?
Not really, kind of. I mean, I saw like viral clips on TikTok, and that was about it. But again, I'm like, I don't I don't care. This is two rich people's like
It was entertaining.
divorce.
It
I
was
saw
entertaining
Marriage
though.
Story. Like I'm good.
I don't
Like
know.
I'm.
I
This
mean,
is
yeah,
it's just it's their real lives.
it
Like
is,
it's
but
wild that people are like they pick like a couple of things. I mean, not saying that either of them are good and neither of them are bad. Like I
right.
think both of them are just like humans who did a lot of jacked up stuff
Hmm.
and are just rich, famous people
Yeah.
doing their rich, famous people lives, and that in and of itself makes a lot of trouble. I think it's just like it's more that than like
Yeah.
Amber Heard is evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a new stuff coming out too, where she apparently, I don't know, I wasn't there, so
Yeah,
I'm with you,
I was barely paying
I'm with
attention.
you. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's this new stuff coming out. Apparently, she was like involved in like a sex club with Cara
Yeah.
Delevingne or something like that. And there's
But
images.
again, aren't most Hollywood people, aren't a lot of them?
I mean,
Have we yet
if
to
it's
see the like full list of people who went to like Epstein's Island?
if it's
Like
well, if it's just
Hollywood's crazy.
if it's just sex with consenting adults, I mean, what's the huge big deal? If it's
Sure,
consenting
yeah.
adults,
You
I
know
mean,
what I mean? Yeah.
it's a dirty faction, but as long as it's like I'm saying, like there's a fine line between sex with two consenting adults and sex with
Yeah.
like Ezra Miller's being accused of like grooming. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's a big
this is
difference between
and this
that.
is not to like excuse, yeah.
Of course not. Of course not. Yeah, yeah. I just think like there's just a huge difference. I mean,
Yeah.
like I'd rather hear that it was like, oh yeah, like Elon Musk had a threesome with Cara Delevingne and Amber Heard or whatever the fucking accusation is, than
Yeah.
Ezra Miller grooming a
Yeah.
woman. Because they're consenting adults. They have that decision. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're not.
And not to say that it's
trafficking.
good or that it's bad. It's just to say that it happens a lot more than we would think it does.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like the boys, honestly. We want everybody to be like the Justice League when really they're like
Yeah.
the seven in the boys. That's life.
Yeah, it's like she's getting that, and then like, but yeah, okay, but Johnny Depp did a lot of fucking cocaine and shit. So it's like, which one do you?
Yeah.
There's no good side to it. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I think domestic abuse.
It's
is
all
wrong,
just for money.
but
It's all just for publicness and
it's
money.
You know what it is
to
though?
get more jobs later in life.
You know what it is though? It's clearing the name. That's what they were both trying to do. They were trying to clear their names.
Yeah, it's the defamation.
They both had.
Because they were, to be fair, they were both pretty defamed. They both had a lot of shit. That's true.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
they both weren't wrong that they defamed the other.
Yeah, her more so in this particular case, but
I mean, yeah.
he definitely had a lot. Yeah, and like so, but at least from what I understand, he's working again. So I guess the goal was.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like
he won the public trial. He won in the court of public appeal.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so he's working again
for sure. With flying colors.
Studios, maybe not Disney or Warner Brothers, but there are going to be studios jumping on having the first big release with Johnny again, So the goal that he set out to do, he did, so whatever, and you're right. A lot of that behind the scenes stuff, it's like, this is probably a lot more common than we all realize. We're just not there to witness it all.
It's literally The Boys. Yeah, life is literally like The Boys.
Yeah.
That's why The Boys is so good, because it's so like not real but real.
Yeah.
They're not literally superheroes, but like you could replace it with a couple of stuff and it's the same. That's one of the best shows I've ever seen in my entire life, by the way.
I need to catch
not just
up
this
on
year in
season
my
3.
life.
I'm still behind on season 3, but I love 1 and 2. I think it's fantastic. So
I feel about The Boys the way I feel like people felt about Game of Thrones when it was on, because I never watched Game of Thrones because I was just always like too late and didn't want to watch like 5 seasons of lore when I was, in 10th grade and I just didn't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm like, this is one of the best things I've ever seen with my eyes.
What, with Boys or Game of Thrones? Oh, just Boys.
The Boys. I'm saying this is how I feel like people felt about Game of Thrones when Game of Thrones was coming out.
Yeah. No, for sure. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Which that's something coming up here in the new Game of Thrones series, which I'm stoked for. I know you.
No, I think I might watch it. Speaking of which, I've never seen really Game of Thrones, but that trailer,
it's great.
That was a good ass trailer. That was a great trailer. That got me intrigued. I was like, I would like to know more about these people, please.
I think I have a theory and you tell me if I'm right or not about why you actually haven't watched Game of Thrones, like the show. So to me, when Game of Thrones was being marketed, it was all the marketing for Game of Thrones was all the politics, more or less, and the sex and things like that.
Yeah.
This show is being marketed heavily into the fantasy, which kind of the surprise of Game of Thrones when you watch it is how much fantasy is really involved in it. And so like now they can afford, because everybody knows what it is now, they can afford to actually lean heavily in the fantasy with this marketing anyway, as opposed to Game of Thrones' marketing. They kind of held back on a lot of that stuff. And like, so now that you see it, you're probably like, well, yeah, I want to watch House of the Dragon. You know what I mean? Because now you're seeing it in the marketing, like what Game of Thrones really is and why we really all loved it and didn't really want to tell you all who hadn't seen it. Yeah.
And really, like, a big thing for me is, like, I love character of everything. That's like, I love characters. Like, that's one of the main reasons I'll watch or read or do anything, is because I love the characters.
Yeah.
And, like, the way they were portrayed in that trailer and the way the dynamics look like they're going to play out, and, you know, the politics, but within their, like, relationship dynamics and how that impacts everything, I was like, that looks phenomenal. Because again, that's what, like, Game of Thrones, I feel like, became and what really was. But you had to watch it to find that out. Like, you came for, like, medieval politics and you stayed because you love the characters. And I'm like reversing that.
People that were in the know with Game of Thrones didn't want to tell people about it too much, that weren't in the know. But now they feel like, I think that everybody that's going to be in the know is, so we can lean heavily into the great stuff with the marketing now. And not to mention, now they got to pull the old fans back in, so they got to assure us that all that stuff is still going to be there, which I'm happy that they did. Again, I am also very pleased with the trailer, and that comes from somebody who's a big fan of the Game of Thrones series, so I'm looking forward to it myself. And I
think I'm definitely at least going to watch the first episode and see how it goes.
Yeah, and
definitely watch that.
I'll say this, and like, I would say if it's going to play anything like Game of Thrones, give it 3 episodes. If you're not in by 3 episodes, then stop, because Game of Thrones does have a slow build. It did, and if they play this
we'll be chugging to something.
Yeah, so at least because by episode 3 you should at least be hooked on character. Like, at the very least, if they play at any if they play similarly to Game of Thrones, you should at least be hooked on the characters by episode 3 and at least want to know what happens to them. That would be my advice, just knowing how Game of Thrones was. Give it 3 episodes, watch 3 weeks in a row. If you're not in by 3, okay, duck out, you know. Speaking of television, and we also got Lord of the Rings coming at the same time, which is insane, but
I'm planning on watching that too.
Yeah, me too.
The trailer was intriguing. Wasn't as good as the House of the Dragon trailer, but I was still like, I'll watch that.
It's funny. I feel like the consensus was more that the Lord of the Rings trailer was the better one, but in my personal opinion, I'm the other way around though, because like I like the Game of Thrones trailer better personally, like, or the House of the Dragon one. I think that looks far more intriguing, and I'm like you, I'm more into character, and the thing that the Lord of the Rings trailer is definitely lacking is character. It's got cool elements of the originals, and
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it is. It's lacking character.
But you're right.
100%. Did you watch She-Hulk by chance? Did you catch the first episode?
I did.
I was very pleased.
I did. I was into it. Me too.
Where are you at with these Marvel shows right now? How have you been on them?
It goes up and down. Every now and then I don't love one, but honestly, I'm liking TV more than films at the moment. Yeah. At least in the year of 2022.
Yeah.
I think I've definitely liked the shows more than the movies.
Yeah.
One thing about She-Hulk though, the only thing that really kind of bothered me, I loved really everything else about it, but I think Tatiana Maslany is just too good of an actress, because when she's She-Hulk, like, the way it was CGI'd, not that it was bad, it was just like too airbrushed. It was like she was wearing too much makeup.
I agree.
And I was like, what? And like, but the way she looks on the Disney Plus poster, like when you click on it, it's just a picture of her in human form, but with like a green filter. And I was like, that is how she should look. That is how she should look. And it's so frustrating because Bruce looks like phenomenal. Like, you can see the lines on his face. It is so detailed. That CGI was phenomenal. for Bruce, and then she just looks like so like everything was just her face.
I
her
agree.
face was too airbrushed for me, and it took me out. And you couldn't see her, it made her acting worse. You couldn't see her facial expressions as well.
I agree.
That's why it really bothered me. It made her acting worse when it shouldn't have been.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you, and I also
loved everything else.
I did. I was feeling, especially because there are multiple shots where we're watching those two stand side by side, and it does feel
and Bruce just looks so much better. It's like,
100%.
It hurts. Why? Yeah,
100%. I agree with all that. I was telling Jose that yesterday. He and I watched it together. We did a watch party, and yeah, nice. I was telling him the same thing. I said the CGI is off. The show is great. The it's funny, and I laughed a lot, and it's great material.
Love the way it's structured. Love the character so far.
Yeah,
love where I think we're going.
And I'm finally
love the setup.
I'm finally, my complaint about Ragnarok. I mean, I'm finally getting the balance between funny Hulk and Hulk.
Good.
Good
Hulk. I feel like
and
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thrilled with that. So I think they're maneuvering Ruffalo in this really, really well. I hope we get more of them. I hope this wasn't the last one he's in, but because he was.
I hope. Great. I know in the credits it said featuring. It said featuring Mark Ruffalo. So I had a moment of like, oh no, because I wanted him to stick around. Their chemistry was phenomenal.
It was.
Like they felt really like siblings, like cousins.
Yeah,
it was great.
I my guess is
he what I really love though.
Yeah,
best one.
Go ahead.
He probably will. That'll be a good one. Yeah. Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is my favorite Marvel of the year.
I agree.
So far.
I agree.
That was a 10 out of 10 for me.
I agree.
I loved Miss Marvel.
I loved Miss Marvel. I thought it was awesome as well. I think except for episode 4, I think episode 4 was the only one.
What happened in that one?
That was where they first went to Pakistan. I wasn't too thrilled with the first time that they were in Pakistan. And I didn't think Kamran's mother was a very good villain. I thought she was a little bit she was better as a good guy. Like when she was trying to play like as a good guy, she was better than she was as the bad guy. You know what I mean? And so I thought
felt a little like the old school. Yeah, like how before Thanos, everyone was like Marvel has Marvel has a villain problem. Like they just can never get their villains right. It felt a little like a 2011 Marvel villain where it's just not quite there. Does the job, but just like isn't quite hitting the way some other villains do.
Overall, it's the most solid show though, I think, that they've done. Like in terms of it, overall.
100%.
Yeah. I agree. Did you like Moon Knight? I thought Moon Knight was great. I
did like Moon Knight.
I had very few issues with that. Yeah. I think the ridiculous hippo didn't need to be in it, but everything else I was really pretty thrilled
I thought she was fine. I understand why you could be like annoyed by it, but I was like, she's fine.
Yeah.
It was tolerable. Like, was it annoying? Yes. But still but tolerable also, yes.
Fair enough. But I like this show overall. I like the lore of it. I thought Ethan Hawke did great and Oscar Isaac did great. They really really good performances. And
I agree.
And just they did.
The thing about the MCU is the acting is never the issue. The acting is rarely the issue nowadays.
Yeah.
In Marvel movies, it's usually something else like writing or directing or CGI or something. That's usually where they falter, if they falter.
So I am so excited. We'll use this as kind of a transition, I guess, into some of the films, because I am so interested, because I know your love for Ragnarok, where you stand on Love and Thunder at this point, and I know how excited you were for it. So I'm curious to know how you feel.
It was alright. I didn't hate it.
Okay.
Here's the thing. The jokes that were funny were really funny.
Okay.
When it hit hard. But when it failed just as hard. And it was really like an 80-20 for me. Like 20% of the jokes were hitting and were really great. And then the other 80% were just not hitting at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I like I understood what people felt like when because I never felt like Ragnarok was too jokey. Even like Guardians 2, I never felt like that was too jokey. I felt like it really, every joke it like made sense for them to make a joke there. I didn't feel too overwhelmed by it, but I was like, no, this one though is too jokey. I know what you mean when you call an MCU movie too jokey now. That's kind of how I felt. But I mean, I liked Natalie Portman. I liked Jane's whole plot line. I wish Valkyrie had gotten to kiss that girl. The Zeus's like handmaiden that she like took a hand from. I wish they had just kissed. That made me a little angry because I knew they should have. And the only reason they didn't was because of like China. But everything, yeah, everything else was like fine. It was you know.
All right, so you know where I stand on Ragnarok for sure, and so I'll give you my take on.
Not a fan.
It's okay. It's okay. I think by the I think by the time you and I did the revisit episode of Movie Night, I was like, it's good. It's fine.
You liked it more.
It's fine. And I'm pretty much the same on this one. It's fine. I think now this is interesting. I think I did like.
I definitely liked Ragnarok a lot more.
Personally actually thought this one was just slightly better, but I think they're both just fine for me. And the only reason I thought this one was slightly better is because I felt like at least this one really embraced its comedy, I think, and that was the only thing. But I still think it has...
And that's what I didn't like about it.
Right. But I still think this one had just as many ridiculous moments as I felt like Ragnarok did. Like I still thought it was an overly ridiculous Marvel movie. The other reason I like this one slightly better is I think I like what it set up a little bit more with Thor and the young girl, and I also like the way that it
I like that too.
I like the way it connected back to the other Thors. I think at least on that point it did really well. Like it definitely harkened back to the first three and didn't ignore that. Like it brought them and tied them together, which I think Ragnarok didn't really do. Tie everything together as tightly, but so I like this one slightly better. But again, I just think it's meh. You know, they're both mad to me. Like
because for me, I'm like, at least Ragnarok has like Loki. At least it has like the villain. I think is much better. I mean, like the thing is, like Christian Bale was killing it. It was just the writing of his character wasn't as good as the writing for Hela was.
Yeah, well, they cut most of his scenes too. That's the other.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
That it does, doesn't it? And it irritates me.
That was like I was watching him and I was like, "You're killing it." Again, the acting is not the issue. It's like everything else that you're doing.
Yeah. Well,
it's why you're doing the things that you're doing in this movie.
I'll take it back.
And who you are.
I'll take it back a little bit because I remember we had this conversation about. And y'all probably thought I was nuts about how Bob Chapek was kind of ruining things for Disney, and turns out that cutting Thor down to what it was a lot of his call.
Oh, I think I heard something about that, of how he said it had to be like under 2 hours. So I remember that being weird. That it was. I remember it being 1 hour and 59 minutes, and thinking that was weird because I always look at the runtime before I go to the movies.
Chapek call. Feige had no say in that. So there you go. This is all. It's all starting It's all starting to come to fruition. Everything I was saying was going to happen.
It seemed like, I mean, also like, I don't know if we're going to talk about it, but I have come to like, and I know I remember you saying you loved it, but I have come to like Multiverse of Madness, like the less and less, the more that I think about it, the longer time has gone on, the less I like it.
Yeah. And
okay. Because I did hear something about how like, I mean, I love Sam Raimi. I love a lot of his movies, but like, did you hear a thing where he didn't see WandaVision before he wrote the movie while they made the movie?
I did.
That made a lot of sense to me because I was like, I was watching the movie and I was like, I don't think this movie has seen WandaVision. Yeah. I felt like that was a wild time for me watching that, like, because again, I loved WandaVision. I loved everything that they did. And the more that I think about it, like they undid everything they did in WandaVision. They said that, never mind. Moving on. But you know, I did like it at the time, so I've only seen it the one time in theaters. So I
feel a lot more high on it, and I've seen it multiple times. I think it's good still, and it's funny though because Jose,
it's a very well made movie though, very well made.
Yeah,
it's just for the character of Wanda. What the hell was that?
I liked it. That's what I have to say. I like the direction a lot, but I personally. Jose was talking to me about how he rewatched it, and he's kind of had the same opinion you do upon rewatch. He loved it at first, and then he's rewatched it, and he's gone down each time. Yeah, I haven't had that. I think it's still remained. It's okay. At the time, I thought it was the best MCU thing I'd ever seen. Like at the time, but I have at least brought that down a couple notches. But I'm keeping Black Panther at my top. So I've brought down Strange a couple notches at this point at least, but it's still in the top 5 for me at this point. So I still really enjoy it. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think it's great.
I gotta do a ranking of my MCU movies because I haven't in a minute with the recent ones. See where it goes. I feel like though it's above the first Doctor or below the first Doctor Strange.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
See, Dave and Jose on my show, they feel the same way. They think it's under the first one.
Yeah.
And I still put it above.
I honestly liked the Doctor Strange What If episode a little bit more. I liked Multiverse of Madness in retrospect.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. I don't know. I don't understand. I have to have somebody sit down and explain it to me. The problem has been like step
problem
by step.
Is Wanda for me. I hate that. I hate what they did to her.
Yeah.
How they undid everything that she learned in WandaVision.
I don't feel like they did personally, but that's because I don't know. The reason I accept
and we're still going. Like we still haven't seen the end of her journey because she is not dead. Like she's coming back very soon, probably.
Obviously.
So we have yet to see the end of her journey.
I agree. I obviously she's not dead. I agree with
that was another thing when I was watching the movie. Literally everybody. I don't know if it was supposed to be that obvious, but it felt like it might have been on accident that it was that obvious. Like, it's very clear that she's not dead when they kill her. Like, overtly clear.
I don't know. I think it was pretty much on purpose, if you ask me. I think they definitely...
I hope it was.
I think so.
I hope.
I don't think they would have just, like, thrown that in there and like... Because it is very obvious. You're not wrong. Like, when you really look at the clip, it's extremely obvious that she's still going to be...
It might as well have said the Scarlet Witch will return at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I mean, for me, the multiverse...
It might as well have said.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, for me, the Multiverse of Madness love, it really does go back to
I think my internet's a little bit slow.
You're okay.
I'm a little slow.
You're okay.
Cool.
I think the love for Multiverse of Madness for me, it does go into my love for Raimi's Evil Dead trilogy. And I think that because we got a Marvel movie in that same vein is why
Which is fair.
Yeah, I've definitely just taken to it. And
which I did like about it. I did like that about it. The Sam Raimi-ness. It's a very well-made film.
Yeah.
It's just for what it means in the MCU. And like the more I think about it, the longer I sat with it. Because it didn't hit the same way.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care either which way. I still love it and I have it.
Nothing this year has really hit like hard for me.
I know,
like nothing new that's come out this year has really been the thing.
I know you didn't even like the Batman that much. I mean, so
I didn't.
Yeah, which is surprising.
I mean, like I liked it for what it was, but it didn't hit.
Yeah.
Like there's been nothing this year that I've been like, this is the thing.
To me, it was that the Batman and Elvis to me are the two that have definitely hit.
Well, I mean, Elvis was phenomenal.
Elvis is my favorite.
That is probably also Nope. I loved Nope. The thing about I was iffy on Nope the first time. Well, I've only seen it once, but when I saw it, I was a little iffy on it because I really didn't like the ending. I didn't like how it ended, and then I sat with it, and then I listened to. Do you know the Dead Meat podcast?
No.
James A. Janice is his name.
No.
But he that's like a horror movie podcast.
Okay.
And they did like a really great like in-depth review on it, and I listened to that. I've been watching them for like years. They had another channel before
you're not a horror
that I was subscribed to too.
That shocks me.
But I listened to that and it like good.
Yeah.
But listening to them like analyze it really made me like appreciate it, and I really like now I'm like it's probably that and Elvis are my two favorites of the year.
I love Nope. I thought Nope was great. Also, that's another one I would throw in.
I love watching it. I loved everything except the ending.
I thought the ending was good. I really liked it. I was pretty. I was definitely. It's a movie you think about a lot after you're done, and it's definitely it begs for a second watch after. And I need to watch it again for sure. But I really did enjoy it. I think it was definitely. I liked it more than Us, and I really liked Us. I loved Get Out. I liked Us, and I love Nope. That's kind of where I'm at. So,
it's hard to rank those for me. They're all so different, and I enjoyed them for all such different reasons.
Me too.
They're all so good, though.
Yeah. No, I thought
really enjoyed all of them.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're all three are really great. And did you? Now I know this isn't really up your alley, but maybe you did. I know how much you love Ethan Hawke. So did you watch Black Phone? I thought Black
I
Phone was
haven't yet.
stellar.
And you know what? I found out that movie takes place where I grew up. It takes place
Really?
like in the Denver metro area
Wow,
of Colorado.
That's cool.
I found that out because somebody, I didn't go to high school with her, but she went to like an adjacent high school that I knew of. And she posted about it. She was like, I went to see the Black Phone and I didn't know that it takes place in my hometown, but it does.
That movie.
Then I looked it up. I forget who's the director of it. The director also grew up in like Broomfield or somewhere around there.
Scott Derrickson, who did Doctor Strange, he directed it.
Right, Scott Yes, Derrickson. Yes. He's from Denver, Colorado. Because I looked it up and I was like, how does he know about like Broomfield, Colorado?
Yeah.
He is from there.
No, that movie is stellar. Black Phone was really good. Black Phone was awesome. It's definitely. I know.
I do. Do you think it's going to go on a streaming service soon? Is it on a streaming service?
It's on demand, but you have to pay for it. It's one of those right now. And then
if it ever goes on like an Amazon Prime or something.
Oh, you know what? It's on.
Watch it.
You know what? It went to Peacock. It's on Peacock. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just remembered it. It went to Peacock.
Let me check it out then.
Yeah, so
watch
it. It's stellar. I think you'll really like it. I mean, Ethan Hawke is unbelievably good in that movie. He's super. He had me squirming in my seat a few times. He gives a really kind of creepy performance in this. He's really good. He's stellar. And I thought the movie was as well. It was great. So, so I'm trying to think too. I haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once yet. I need to watch that. I that's one I haven't caught up on. I heard.
That was really great. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I need to watch
it. We got so much darker in this room. Just so you know.
Oh, it's okay.
It's fine. Apologies.
I can still see you.
We're good.
Yeah. Everything.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Everything all. Yep.
Yeah. No, I hear it's great.
Everywhere All at Once.
I hear it's great. I need to watch it for sure. And it
was really great.
There was another horror movie this year that
was another one that I had to think about for a really long time after I saw it to kind of like figure out what I really thought about it. Yeah, but it was really great.
There was another horror movie too that came out. I didn't see. It was called X. I don't know if you saw X or heard of X. I
haven't, but I've heard it's really good.
Too.
It's been recommended to me before as like a horror movie I would actually like.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that's on my list. I do want to see X because there's a prequel coming out too.
Really, I didn't hear that. There might be. Yeah, there might be. I don't know. I didn't hear about it.
There is. It's called Pearl. Right, with Mia Goth.
Oh, really?
Because something I don't know how it is. Because I haven't seen X, but I know Mia Goth is in
she
X.
She is in it. Yeah.
And she's playing another character.
Wow.
In a prequel. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I don't know what that means, but I know that exists.
I know that. I don't know. I love Ty West as a director. I think his first. Maybe they weren't his first two films. I haven't seen
any of. What else has he done?
There's a really good one called House of the Devil. That's actually really scary, and it's it's one of the scarier movies I've seen. Honestly, like genuinely frightened me was House of the Devil, and the other one he did, which is actually kind of creepy too, was Innkeepers. Innkeepers
horrifying.
Is really good. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, both of those actually are pretty scary. I liked both a lot. I think he's a very good filmmaker, super talented, like uber talented, and so I want to watch X really bad. I just heard great things, and I've been looking.
That's been on my list.
Yeah, for sure. I've been looking forward to Alex Garland doing another movie, and I didn't watch Men, but I heard it sucks.
I did hear that it sucked. Yeah, I did not see it either.
Which disappoints the hell out of me because everybody loves Ex Machina and Annihilation. I haven't heard a bad review about either of those first two movies he did. So
I haven't seen those yet.
They're both good. You got to watch Ex Machina.
That I'm very embarrassed to not have seen either. Those are two like
they're awesome. They're fantastic. If you
know,
like, especially Annihilation.
I want to apologize for having seen them because I know
Annihilation. You should really watch.
It's a Natalie Portman one, right? Yeah.
Natalie Portman, Oscar Isaac, some other people. I mean, it's a really great flick.
Yeah.
And if
it's like that still sells me already. Like that's why I'm ashamed I haven't watched it because like Natalie Portman, Oscar Isaac, like sci-fi movie, you got done. You got me.
Yeah. If you liked kind of Nope and like this new take on aliens and stuff. I mean, watch Annihilation. It's got a little bit of that stuff in there too. It's pretty interesting. I really liked Annihilation a lot. That was a surprise movie for me because I didn't know what to expect. But I remember going to the theater and just being like, wow, that was awesome. So really, really loved Annihilation. And the another one that came out this year that was really, really interesting. Why did I just forget what I was about to say? I had a movie in my head that came out this year, and I just completely dropped the ball on that. I completely forgot. Not movie. I'm sorry.
Think of movies that have come out this year.
Not movie. I'm sorry. I was gonna.
TV shows.
I misspoke. Another TV show that came out this year that I thought was awesome was Peacemaker. I thought Peacemaker was incredible. I don't know if you watched Peacemaker yet. No, you haven't. Oh,
sorry, my internet's a little bit slow. It took me a second to hear Peacemaker. Yeah. I have not. No, I haven't yet, but I know I've heard it's really good. And I did really enjoy The Suicide Squad. So
yeah, no, watch Peacemaker. I'm surprised you haven't watched it.
How many episodes? It's not that long, right? Only like 8.
It's 8, but you'll be hooked after 2. I mean, you'll be hooked after 1. I mean, honestly, and
I just have such because I also really want to watch like all of the Defenders saga shows.
Okay,
because they're all on Disney Plus now. Because I know like Daredevil's getting his own thing.
Oh yeah,
like that's after I finish like all of the Star Wars shows. I'm gonna watch all the Marvel shows. So I'm like, that's a little further on my list. But I know I've heard it's phenomenal.
Oh,
I've heard it's great.
It's awesome. If you like The Boys, watch Peacemaker. It's got a lot of the same elements to it. Different, too, but it's got a lot of those same, very similar elements to it. It definitely...
And I've heard Christian Harloff raves about Peacemaker all the time. Like every time he talks about like TV shows.
Yeah, he likes it too, I think. Yeah. It's really great. It's one of my personal favorite shows of the year. I mean, the one that you and I were both raving about though was Euphoria season 2. Euphoria season 2 was stellar this year. It was phenomenal. It's still my favorite season of television this year so far. Again, granted, I haven't seen The Boys season 3, but my favorite season personally is Euphoria season 2. I think that was just
that one's up there for me.
Every bit of that has honestly probably the best performances I've seen on television so far. I mean, Zendaya will probably win that Emmy again. I can only imagine. Right? I mean, I mean,
as should I think Sydney Sweeney too, who plays Cassie.
She did great.
She should be at least nominated for sure. She killed it. That girl's an actress.
Yeah,
like she came to play.
Yeah, she did great.
She said, "Oh, Zendaya, is this really an Emmy award-winning show?
Yeah,
we'll see."
Yeah,
she said, "We'll see how many acting awards we can get."
Yeah,
and she did the job.
Yeah, that middle episode.
Sorry, hold on.
You're good. Mute yourself.
I can't. Hold on, I'm in the middle of this thing.
That
I literally can't. Sorry.
We'll let her take care of her thing.
Yes,
folks.
I'll pay you back. The neighbors are selling chocolates.
Oh. I'm literally in the middle of a thing. I can't right now.
Oh shit!
Okay, did you hear any of that?
I heard all of it, but it's okay. We all heard it.
You all heard it. I'm sorry. Neighborhood kids aren't getting candy right now. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I told them I was doing this. This is the one time I'm unavailable. No, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's all good. We're good.
I just have like a thing lodged in the door. Like it's a process. I can't just anyway. It's like a whole thing.
You need an out of order sign. That's what you need.
I do. Yeah. I'm like, we're out of order. I'm sorry.
You're out of order right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I appreciate you sticking around anyway, but that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but,
it's a whole situation. There's like a whole thing lodged under my door right now. I literally would have to turn my camera off for a minute and have a minute. It's not worth it. I'm sorry, neighborhood kids.
All good. Yeah. Look. So the one I was where was I at? I lost my spot. I lost my train of thought. You were talking about Euphoria.
Yes, Euphoria.
About
Sydney Sweeney is great.
I don't know what stood out.
That was the last thing I remember saying.
I don't know what stood out to you this year. It was. I mean, I know that you said that nothing's like really blowing your mind yet, but
I mean, Kenobi was really great. Obi-Wan Kenobi
Yeah,
series. I did love that. It wasn't really like, it didn't go as hard as I wanted it to,
I know,
but
I
I
agree.
did still love it for what it was.
I agree.
You know,
I share that same
I
sentiment.
try not to be greedy with things like that because it was pretty phenomenal to see.
Yeah,
what we did get to see.
It was cool, and Qui-Gon at the end, I mean, obviously was just, it was the perfect cherry on top to get him back.
Yeah.
And I did love the direction. And when I saw, like, I mean, I know there's been criticisms about Leia, but I thought that girl did phenomenal in that show, Lyra Blair, and
I cried. Leia's my favorite Star Wars character. She's probably maybe my favorite fictional character of all time. Oh my God, I had a full moment. I had to like call my brother and have like a full moment. I could not believe it.
Yeah,
so excited. And I just read Princess Leia of Alderaan, or Leia, Princess
of Alderaan. I knew what you
Princess Leia of Alderaan. Leia, Princess of Alderaan.
One of the best Star Wars
this year,
books, yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
So, oh my God. Loved it. That should be a Disney Plus show in about 6 years.
It should
when she's about 16, they should make it.
I 100% agree.
And Bryce Dallas Howard should direct it.
Perfect.
That's what I want. That's what I'm manifesting.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
And honestly, they nailed that vibe between her and Bail Organa like perfectly in the show. And so I was so on board with everything.
It was the way that she, because it was so true, where she was, I think I heard someone say this online, but she was like looking at her and the way she just performed the role.
Yeah.
It was like, how am I seeing a little bit of Bail Organa, a little bit of her mom, a little bit of Padme, a little bit of Anakin, and a little bit of Carrie Fisher in this 10-year-old girl?
I know.
It was like it felt too real.
I thought she was insane.
It was too perfect.
And I think something that people aren't talking about enough is how well Hayden Christensen actually did in this. I thought he did so well. And
again, I cried.
Yeah,
I loved it. That show made me very emotional. That was a great time.
Yeah, and that final battle.
Again, I loved it for what it was. I love that I got to see what I got to see.
Yeah, that final battle.
I haven't stopped thinking about it since.
And those performances that came out of the aftermath of that battle was just unbelievable, and it really was very captivating. I mean,
you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah,
I did. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
like, are you kidding? I was like, are you kidding me?
Incredible. I think my biggest nitpicks came out of the 4th episode for Obi-Wan. I did have a lot of problems with that 4th episode where they went through the base and everything and had to go save Leia.
No, for sure.
I think there was a lot of logical fallacies, so to speak, in that episode for sure. But I think the rest of it was pretty good. I mean, I think that a lot of people
and literally child under a trench coat.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, that was rough for me.
Yeah, there's that.
That was rough for me. I was like, not what I would have done, Deborah Chow, but I guess.
Yeah. But I think the cool thing about it is like Deborah Chow she's still fairly new at directing in general. And so
definitely. And did phenomenally though.
I think
like
so.
Yeah. Those fight scenes were beautiful, especially.
I agree.
Like,
for the most part they were. There's the one in episode 3 I took a little bit of issue with, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was fine. But when you get to that final battle, you're right. She did a stellar job, and the flashback sequence in episode 5 with Hayden and Ewan McGregor going at it, like she did do a gorgeous job with that.
Yeah.
And that stuff really played very, very well. I'm very much looking forward to Andor, though. I think it's going to be the best Star Wars series of the year.
I hope that's the thing that hits. Yeah. As I was saying, nothing's really, really hitting me this year. I hope it's Andor. That's my hope.
I think it is.
That and Don't Worry, Darling. Also, I have very big hopes for.
Me too.
But on the TV front, Andor is what I'm putting all my chips in. I hope that's the one that hits.
Yeah, I think Andor first. It looks amazing. It really, really does, and
it really does.
You've heard me talk about the Aftermath trilogy and the series of books, and when I watched the Andor trailer, I was like, this is the Aftermath trilogy come to life. I mean, it's a different time period, completely different characters.
But before.
The vibes,
the aftermath of Fall of Republic,
right? And it's the vibes, the tones, the politics. I mean, it's all coming to fruition, and I can't wait for Andor. I think the trailer just did everything I needed it to convince me that this might be better than The Mandalorian, honestly. And that's a tall order, but I honestly think it hits that level. I really do. I have a good.
It has an opportunity. Yeah, I think it has a really big opportunity to do so because
Yeah.
it's more episodes, and aren't they already have season 2 planned out, and
2
like
and
they're
3,
really
I
hoping
guess.
for season 3 because that's what I've heard on the yeah. And like they're hoping for more. They have such a structured plan because that's the thing. That's like one of the best things about The Mandalorian is that you could tell that it was planned. You could tell that we're watching 8 parts of a story and it's all going to build until the final chapter, and that part 2 is going to keep doing the same thing, and that we're going to keep doing that.
Right.
And like that's what we want. That's what I want from Star Wars. I love that. I love when we can build to something like that. And again, like if this show hits and if it does what we think it's going to, it can be really phenomenal. It has the opportunity right there. We just got to see if it's going to take it or not.
Yeah. And Tony Gilroy is helming the thing, and we all know that even though Gareth Edwards is credited, he did Rogue One. We all know that.
Yeah.
It's a fact. And honestly,
allegedly.
But he came into Rogue One to fix it
allegedly
when it was in production hell, and the movie still turned out great.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine what he could do now that he doesn't have to worry about all that, and he's got this whole creative freedom to like expound
and it's his
on
story,
this.
And he knows, and like yeah. And like, isn't his brother like the head writer? And so it's like, he's so is in tune with what the story is and the writing of it. Like, it's such like an auteur like vision. It's gonna feel like,
Yeah. And what's interesting to me is
which again is like what's so great about the Mandalorian. Like that was such Dave Filoni's, vision that
agreed.
He was just so excited to bring to life.
I agree with you. I think that the thing about Tony Gilroy that's so interesting is he's not like a Star Wars fan, admittedly, but he has gone back, he has done the research, and he at least has an attachment to these characters.
He knows what he needs to know.
He does. Yeah. He knows enough, and he knows how to make a great show out of it. And to me, I think he will.
Like he's seen the prequels. Like he knows. He's he knows things. Yeah.
For sure. And I think that this is going to be a much bigger thing than a lot of people were anticipating. I've been saying since the beginning, let's not sleep on Andor because there's so much potential there when you look at what Rogue One did. I mean, there really is. To me, like, you have one of my biggest problems with Rogue One, I've said this before, I'll say it again, is the fact that the way the characters were introduced so spontaneously. Like, I felt like when I met Cassie and like there's a whole story there, I want it, and so
he's in the middle of something,
right. And I hope that the show is leading up to that moment. I hope that the last episode, the last season, is that moment. Like, I hope that's where it goes. And so
that'd be so good, because doesn't somebody like tap him on the shoulder or something? That'd be so great. Like if the last shot of the show was like them walking up and they tap, and then like before he can even turn around, it's just like Andor.
And
that would be badass.
It'll work great too if you do it over years. I mean, Diego Luna is only getting younger as he goes on, so it helps.
Absolutely, aging phenomenally.
It really, really helps. So some of the cool things that I think we got this year, we got a lot. Like we do have a lot of great trailers that came out, a lot of announcements and stuff. There's 2 that I don't know if you are as interested in.
The Black Panther trailer.
Well, the Black Panther trailer was phenomenal. It's one of my favorite.
That was one of the best trailers I've seen in a minute.
Yeah, that was phenomenal, and I'm so excited for it. And it got me emotional. I know that everybody thinks Henry Cavill's going to be in Black Adam, and so do I, but everybody's kind of down on Black Adam. They feel like they need Superman in that marketing for it to be great, but like I think it all looks good to me. Like I'm stoked for it. I think it looks good. That's my personal take, but I don't know. I think The Rock is going to be really good in Black Adam, honestly.
That's Black Adam's one that I think I'm going to need to hear word of mouth on before I see it. Like, I don't know if I'm going to see it opening weekend, but then if people say it's phenomenal, or if they're like, you have to see this, it ties into whatever, then I definitely will. But if it's like a Morbius situation, or like a Venom 2 situation where I wait and it comes out and everyone's like, it's not worth it, it's garbage, then I have no problem skipping it.
I got you. I don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, I thought Jean-Michel Sarah did really good with Jungle Cruise. I thought that turned out a lot better than it had any business being. And so I think Jean-Michel Sarah coming into Black Adam will do just about that same kind of work. I think it's going to be really stellar. And I'm hearing a lot of it's unlike any comic book film we've ever seen. I mean, sure, people involved in projects say great things about their project. Okay, I mean, big whoop. I mean, we hear that all the time, but
yeah.
But still, like I really am taking the word for it on that, and I really hope it delivers. And I think the fact that it's going to tie right into Shazam 2 probably is a big deal because they're coming out so close to one another, and so I really enjoy that aspect of it too. And I think Shazam 2, that's one of my most anticipated. I love that first Shazam, like without a shadow of a doubt.
I do like that Shazam. That was a good movie.
It's an awesome movie. Yeah, I can't wait for this new one. I think it looks just as good. And
try. Whoa.
You're good.
It's so bright. I'm trying to turn this light on.
You're good.
See if this helps. Because I was like, it is dark.
Do what you do.
This screen.
Do what you do.
There. Think that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That made an improvement.
It helps. It's pretty.
I think.
Yeah.
Cool. It works. Cool.
So Shazam 2 was a trailer.
Shazam 2 also I'm
good.
Very hyped for.
Looks good. And we have
my girl Rachel Zegler.
Yeah. Oh, but really quick, I think that this She-Hulk thing is going to end up being a bigger like crossover event than we thought. Like going back to that really quick, because there was that recent report that Spider-Man was in the script too at some point.
Right. And we know Daredevil has to show up eventually. Wong, they've said, is coming in.
Yeah.
The freaking, oh my God, the Sakaar ship. That was also, oh my God, also spoiler for episode 1 of She-Hulk, but like, love that when they were like, oh, was that a spaceship that got, oh, it is in the trailer. But later when she's like, oh, was that a spaceship that wrecked our car? And Bruce is like, oh yeah, I should probably get on that sometime.
That has to be the Grandmaster. That has to be Goldblum.
It has to be.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
who else wants revenge on
it makes
Hulk,
sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense if it's him or at least one of his people to come back and get him.
Yeah.
Because it's one of his design.
Oh my God,
ships.
wait, what if it's the... Do you remember the Grandmaster's like woman, the woman there who was kept being like wanting to torture them? And he'd have to be like, why do you always have to bring torture into things? They're just being rude. You don't have to always bring murder into that. Did she die? I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but it could be her.
That'd be great. That just randomly popped in my head.
Even if she did die, we're in the Marvel fake death universe, so it's still could be her.
That's true.
It doesn't matter.
That is totally true.
So
yeah, she seems like a character to me that would die.
Yeah,
but I don't remember.
For sure. Anyway, I'm getting off track. There were 2 trailers. I don't know if you're interested in any of these, but there's 2 in particular. They're 2 kind of big action movies coming out. The one is John Wick 4. I don't know if you finally caught up on John Wick yet, because John Wick 4 looks really good. That
unfortunately.
Fair enough. And the other one, though, that you need no attachment to anything for, just it looks incredible, is Samaritan with Sylvester Stallone. Did you check that trailer out? I think that looks awesome.
No, have not. I don't even know if I've clocked that in my brain.
It's a Prime Video.
Not a big Sylvester Stallone, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like 80s action person.
I think you should watch this trailer first off, because
The Samaritan. Okay,
it's his first superhero movie, so that's interesting. That's intriguing.
Okay,
just that alone. But it's a Prime Video original. But you watch this thing, you're gonna be like, they should have put this in the theater without a doubt, unless it really sucks.
Okay,
I mean, because this movie
could really suck.
It could, but
or they could think it really sucks.
They could. I mean, it looks stellar. The concept is just so good, and he's basically, it's kind of like, no, not really. I was gonna say it's kind of like that movie Hancock, but it's not really like Hancock. I mean, he's kind of more.
I did see that movie back in the day.
Yeah, he's kind of more in this. He's like old, obviously, Sylvester Stallone, but he's like an ex superhero, and this kid like recognizes him, and they're teaming up together, and just looks like this was tailor made for Stallone. I think that this is gonna be like, honestly, I'm hoping it's as great as it looks. I really am, and that trailer was awesome to me. It's one of my favorite trailers this year. I think you should definitely watch it. It lays out the concept pretty well. I think you'd probably be intrigued with that one. You don't have to be like a big Stallone fan to, I think, be intrigued. But speaking of Stallone and Schwarzenegger, one of the best movies of the year is Prey. I
haven't seen it. Heard it was phenomenal though. Everyone said it was
it's awesome.
The way to do a prequel.
Yes. Yeah. It is unbelievable. I
haven't seen any stunned. Predator, Alien, nothing that's a big
this would be perfect,
like hole in my movie knowledge.
This would be perfect for you.
Right, you would think, because it's like because I've heard what it's about.
Jose too. didn't watch any of them, the Predators, and so he watched Prey and loves it. And I was like,
Wow,
so this is a perfect way for you to jump into that first Predator movie now, which is also great. Like it would, I think, if you go into this movie with the understanding that this is pretty much similar to the way the first Predator plays, it really is, then you'll probably be really intrigued to watch that first Predator movie after watching Prey. And the girl, I'm so blanking on her name, the main actress in this thing, is awesome. Like I'm so blown away by how good she was. And she's I think she's done stuff, but she's still like fairly new in the industry, and she is just immediately likable. Like you will immediately like her character, and just wow, it's an amazing movie. You should really watch it. And
check it out. Yeah,
it's like 85 minutes, so it's like
nice,
good. It's short.
We love a short. I love a short movie.
I haven't seen. This is impressive. You know me. I don't mind a good long movie. You know I'm like that. But when I do see something that does so well in that short like runtime, and it does go by like that, because it's been a long time since I've seen something this short and that went by so quick. Like I couldn't believe how quickly this thing went by. It reminded me of at least the pace of it reminded me of the fourth Rambo movie, but that was the pace I compared it to. But in general, it's just like it is one of the fastest moving experiences I've ever had with the movie. It's so quick, it's so good, and it's honestly stellar. You won't even notice any time went by. You'll be so, and it does a great job just hooking you right in the beginning. Like it really, really does. So there's that. You want to hear the craziest news story that I heard recently? This is Universal.
Oh no.
Universal.
Yes.
Do you remember the movie R.I.P.D. with Ryan Reynolds? Have you heard this story yet?
Oh, unfortunately I do.
But
bad. I don't know the story.
It's terrible. Okay. Universal shot the R.I.P.D. sequel in secret, and they're putting it out. It's coming out straight to VOD.
What a weird movie to film in secret.
I feel like they did that. I don't know why they did that, actually. I feel like they did that for the headline of it, though. Like you know what I mean? The headline.
For the meme?
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds is in that, right? Is he in the sequel?
He is not.
Was Ryan Reynolds like, guys, I got a great meme? Oh, no.
He's not even in it.
Because that sounds like a thing. Like, if you told me Ryan Reynolds came up to them and was like, let's pull a meme, I'd be like, yeah, that checks out.
You know Jeff Bridges ain't coming back, let alone Ryan Reynolds. I mean, there's you know.
So is it just the concept?
So apparently,
it's like a legacy sequel.
Apparently, it was made by Universal 1440, and if you don't know Universal 1440, they basically make movies that are. I'm not saying they made these, but they make movies like the American Pie spinoffs. Do you remember those straight to DVD like American Pie spinoff movies? That's what Universal's 1440 division makes, is straight to DVD movies that are like those really cheap American Pie spin-off movies, or those like Van Wilder spin-offs that like nobody
this movie's garbage then.
It's gotta be, but I just find it so funny that they felt the need to shoot it secretly and just like get that headline out there that we shot this thing in secret, guys, it's coming. But this brings me to one of the more interesting things that I think has happened in our pop culture zeitgeist this year in 2022, because this was also done by Universal 1440, and that's the Munsters. I don't know what the fuck is going on with the Munsters. I am so
I forgot. I was gonna like message you about it when I saw that trailer. I was like, because I remember when we talked about it and you got so hyped, and I was gonna be like, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna send my condolences, because I was like, this is not gonna be it. I remember. I wanted to send flowers, like my condolences to you, because you were so hyped for that. And it just is. It looked so.
It looked so bad.
Worse than normal bad. Yeah. I'm
of two minds on this. Okay, so I think there's one of two scenarios. I'm assuming the first scenario is the case, and the first scenario is that this movie is
making excuses.
No, I'm not making an excuse, but I just think that this is one possibility we need to consider.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first scenario, and this is the more likely case, is that this really is just absolute dog shit. Historically, that has been the case with Rob Zombie anyway. So let's just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So it's not going to surprise me if this thing comes out and it's shit. It's like, okay, I'm not going to be mad about it. And I think the trailer is, I'm kind of glad the trailer happened. So now I know what to expect. You know what I mean? Now I know to expect that it's going to be dog shit. Because
it would be a lot worse to not have a trailer.
As a dedicated Munsters fan, I do have to watch this, unfortunately. But I think I think the second scenario, and hear me out, is that this is secretly a masterpiece. And hear me out on this. I'll tell you why I think that might.
It's like The Room or something. That's the only type of masterpiece I could see it.
Well, hang on a second, because this is the interesting part about this.
I'll hear you out.
So this is I don't think this is going to be the case. Keep that in mind. It's just a possible scenario that I can see, because a couple things about this. Number one, like I said, it's Universal 1440, which really does just make cheap straight to DVD movies, which this is going to be apparently. So we have to think about that. So I think there's a slight chance that
it'd be so funny if it goes straight to DVD. It's like not even on streaming.
Oh, it is. Like, you didn't hear the story. It is. They're not. Peacock.
It's not even going to be on.
Peacock don't want it anymore. They got rid of it. They're putting it on Blu-ray. It's coming out on a Blu-ray release.
I'm surprised because that was awful. That trailer was garbage.
It's coming out on a really nice looking Blu-ray. I must say the cover art is dope. I'm not going to buy it until I see it, but the cover art is dope. Well, look, it's Universal 1440. It's Universal 1440. They make movies on the cheap. It's possible. Now, I'm not a major Rob Zombie fan, but I can tell you this. He's better than the crap that Universal 1440 typically puts out. He's at least better than that.
Okay.
But I digress. So
it's giving you, you're holding on like that shred of hope, because you're like, he's not as bad as the studio.
He's not.
So maybe.
It's possible. And the guy is a major Munsters fan. So it's possible that.
Well, I have no doubt that, like, watching the trailers, like, I have no doubt that you love the Munsters. It's just that I doubt your ability to make a quality film.
Yeah,
that's why.
And it's fair.
That's where the trouble is.
It's a fair assessment. But I think it's possible that he went to Universal 1440 to make this movie, because he's going to have all the freedom he wants anyway. Right. And the second thing, the second reason I think that it could be just this undercover masterpiece is because the Ward has, now I heard this from a very good source, and it's actually the source. Because remember, we were talking about the Munsters before a lot of people. Remember some shit website?
I remember.
Had it, and I said this is absolutely true. Remember that?
I remember. Yes, I do remember that.
Now, this is going to baffle you, but I heard from that same source that this movie is actually going to be like 2 hours and 45 minutes. So.
The biggest eye roll I can give.
I'm not confirming it.
Oh my God.
But I'm saying that I heard from that same source.
That's the rumor.
Look, if it
reputable rumor.
If it is, you're not going to put out 2 hours and 45 minutes of the garbage that we saw. And the other part of it is a lot of that stuff.
He might.
He might. You're not wrong. And that's probably that's the more likely scenario. You're right.
Oh,
you're on the more likely
245. Scenario. Wow.
You're on the more likely scenario. But the other thing is I think a lot of things in that trailer we are seeing out of context. Or I don't think that. I think it's a possibility that we are seeing a lot of things out of a certain context. And this could be secretly Rob Zombie's masterpiece. We'll see. Secretly.
We'll see.
And they put the trailer together, because to my knowledge, I actually heard he cut the trailer too. That's the other thing. Which,
of course he did.
You could tell.
It literally, the budget looked like $2. It looked like it was filmed for $2 and a flip phone. That's what it looked like.
Look, he's not a great filmmaker. I've been on record saying I am not the biggest Rob Zombie fan.
Yes.
I like a couple movies he's done. I don't love anything he's done. And for the most part, it's not been great. But I think he's better than what we saw. I do.
Willing to give him you still have some optimism.
I think
you're gonna watch it anyway.
I'm just curious. I'm curious as to how this thing turns out, because I do kind of wonder, is it a misdirect? Is it something that's, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Again, the fact that they're putting it straight to Blu-ray, not putting it on Peacock. But the other thing to remember, though, is that could be something that Rob Zombie worked out in his contract, because a lot of Rob Zombie's success, he has those types of fans that do go buy the physical media. Like most of his fans are like that. They need the physical copy of his stuff. And I think he knows that. And I think that's part of the reason they're doing physical first with it. And then the other part of this is that, I mean, you know, it's going to Netflix afterward. It's not even going to Peacock. It's going to Netflix. But if Netflix saw that this thing was awesome, maybe they bought it. Maybe they bought it out. Maybe they were like, it's actually really good.
Maybe.
We want to buy it. Because Netflix is supposed to be.
We gonna find out.
Netflix is supposed to be. I'm not saying they're going to follow the rules, but they're supposed to be on this game plan right now to get their stocks back up. I don't know why you would invest in that when you're in trouble. I just think there's a lot of suspicion surrounding this whole thing. Something just seems fishy. That's where I'm at with the Munsters. It's not that I can honestly see it being the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. That's honestly very possible. And that's probably the most likely thing. But I can't deny something smells fishy about it. You know, something smells, and it's a $40 million movie. There's not $40 million in that trailer. Let's be honest. There's not.
Yeah.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off didn't cost as much, and it looks a lot better. You know, it does. Like, you can't deny that there's something fishy about this situation, is there not? Like, whether the movie's garbage or not, you can't deny there's something that smells fishy about this whole thing. Whether Rob Zombie stole 39 million and only used $1 million, or whatever the case, there is something fishy going on here with this whole situation. There's no doubt about it. And so I almost got to wonder, is it a secret masterpiece? Is it like this secret thing that they're keeping under wraps? But we've spent way too much time.
We're going to find out.
Talking about this.
You know what's really, I did not have any like real hope in until I saw the trailer for. The trailer just came out for Tim Burton's Wednesday.
I didn't watch it yet, so don't. I mean, I've seen the images.
Great,
though, but I saw the images.
I had no hope in it. I thought it was going to be trash. I thought it was going to be like Dark Shadows or something. Like it was just not going to be good because like I didn't like Dumbo. Haven't liked a lot of recent Tim Burton stuff. And then that trailer was phenomenal.
I hear it's
you should
a good
watch
trailer.
it.
I will.
Really, I was like, oh, well, there's no way I'm not watching it. It became like a show that I was like not gonna miss. It became a not miss show after watching that trailer.
Now imagine by the time the year's over,
it became a top priority.
Now imagine by the time the year's over, somehow between the Munsters and the Addams Family, the Munsters ends up being the higher praise thing. Imagine it. Just imagine a world.
I've seen Stranger Things. Speaking of Stranger Things,
that's something we can get into. Stranger Things.
That was a great. I love that. I love this last season.
That was one of my favorite seasons of television of the year because that was incredible. Now I was iffy at first. You know me, I didn't like season 3 that much, so I was very skeptical. Okay. If you had told me last year I was going to like Stranger Things 4 more than Obi-Wan, I'd said get the fuck out of here. But I honestly did. Like I honestly loved season 4. I think the finale. Just in a vacuum, like you take that finale, it's to me that's the best episode of television of all time. That Stranger Things finale. That's my opinion on it. But the show overall, I was iffy on it at first. I thought it felt very directionless in its first, 4 episodes or so. By the time you're watching Max run to the Kate Bush song, you're in. You're so in, and it's
you're
just,
in. Yeah, it becomes so much great.
Yeah, and it's
so much greater.
It's definitely the most cinematically ambitious piece of television I've ever seen that whole season. It's incredible what they did with it.
Agree. Yeah. Definitely on right now.
Yeah.
That I've seen.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that's taken so many swings, tried to do so much into one season, and I respect, even though not all of them paid off for me, not all the risks paid off. I'll be honest, but for the most part, I mean, by the time you're at the finale, it's stellar. You can't deny that this is one of the best seasons of TV ever. By the time you're at the finale, they really did a good job, especially considering how much they were trying to do.
And Eddie's coming back. Eddie is coming back as a vampire. That is the rumor. So. I hear that is the dream scenario I hear on the streets, and I want that as well. And I also think that it will.
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Because the Duffer Brothers.
I think that it will.
The Duffer Brothers.
Because the game that they play, the main thing that Okay, go ahead.
Go into your spiel. I want to hear your take. Why do you think it's gonna happen?
Well, okay, the main reason I think that why is because the D&D like campaign that they're playing at the beginning of the season, that's what happens in their D&D campaign. That like the main hero dies and then comes back as the vampire and is the one to do the final blow to Vecna. So it's probably gonna happen in like the final, because next season's the last season. What's probably gonna happen is like 11 will be like the one really fighting him. Like 11 will be the one like holding him down, the one to get him to that point. But then like Eddie will come in and like stab him.
It's okay.
That's a theory that I have.
Hearing it that way.
He also has bat tattoos. He was also killed by bats. That too.
Hearing it that way, I gotta say, I am with it a little bit more. I understand that take, and that actually makes a lot of sense, what you're saying.
And he's one of the most beloved characters to ever come out of a television show in the last like 10 years.
Yeah.
So too.
Really quick, are you able to like stop your video and restart the video? Not exit the Zoom, but just the video part of it? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I can try.
Okay, yeah, just see what happens.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, you're back. That's much better. Thank you.
I'm back.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Okay.
that's much better.
Cool.
Anyway,
cool.
So no, I like that take actually. That's actually the way you explained it makes a lot of sense. I never thought of it from that lens. So I get where you're coming from. The reason I didn't think he would come back, now you're kind of changing my mind a little bit, but the reason I didn't think he would come back is because the Duffer Brothers have been really, they've killed off fan favorites and never brought them back. You know, they've been they're not like Marvel where they got to bring everybody back. Like Matthew Modine they brought back, but that's like the only one, you know, that I could think of.
Yeah.
Like Bob. Look at Bob in season 2, right? Like Bob.
Yeah.
Fan favorite, but they killed him.
They've done this so many times. This is like the third time they've done this with a beloved character.
Yeah.
Just like kill them.
Right.
Also, by the way, I got it in my brain squish. I think Will actually be the one to like kill Vecna. I think 11 will hold him down. I think it will be Will actually.
That I agree with.
That my brain was going.
I agree 100%.
I rewind. I meant Will. But Eddie is still going to come back and help in the fight as a vampire.
Yeah, fair.
Yes, he's going to be like their guy in the Upside Down.
Yeah. I just think they're known for killing fan favorites and not bringing them back. So I think that
100%.
The other part of it where I could see them really, you know, I think Joseph Quinn as an actor is going to be in a lot more now, though. I think that if anything,
as he should.
We're going to see him do a lot more now after this because he's really started to shine. He's in Game of Thrones too, by the way. Joseph Quinn. That's a reason.
Oh, nice. I think I saw something
it's a very small role, but he's in it. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's another one though it's just that blew me away. It's been a strange year in that way where things have just things I thought I was gonna love more, I didn't, and then there's been even just like was there anything that like outside of I like the Batman or anything that you like thought you were gonna love this year and just ended up hating? Or
let me see. I have a list on my phone of like all the things that I've seen this year, movies and TV.
Okay.
I mean, Doctor Strange one, I thought I was gonna really, because I really thought Doctor Strange was gonna be like a little accumulation point for like this point in phase 4.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like a Civil War moment almost where like we get a little bit of Loki and stuff, a little bit of WandaVision and all of that, you know, when we deal with the repercussions of the last Spider-Man movie. Like I thought it was going to be a little bit more like that, which again is my own expectations, but I was a little let down by that. That one maybe, yeah. Nothing else really like disappointed me. Because again, I mean, like I liked Obi-Wan for what it was. It wasn't like that disappointing. It was disappointing in that I still feel like there was more to be had. It left a lot on the table that it just didn't need to. Yeah. But it wasn't disappointing though.
What about Boba Fett? How'd you feel about Boba Fett?
I actually, I enjoyed Boba Fett. Again, I liked it for what it was.
Yeah.
And again, I love the Mandalorian episodes were the best. The episode of Grogu and Ahsoka and them training. Yeah. And Luke training him on the thing and he brings in the little Mandalorian armor. That was the best thing about the whole thing. But I did really enjoy it. Like especially the first episode of him like getting out of the Sarlacc pit and like finding the Tusken Raiders and all of that. Like I was very into that. I enjoyed it. I've heard a lot of people talk about how they feel like that one also left a lot to be desired.
It did.
Just in like the story of Boba Fett and how, because again, like when I was a kid, I didn't really hype him up that much. I thought he was cool, but he was never like a major character. And I know for a lot of people when they were kids, that was like he was their guy, you know.
I didn't.
And so I get it in that sense, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, as big of a
Mandalorian was the best part of it. But,
yeah, for sure. It was definitely the Mando episodes that made it, but. I'm with you. Like I never had that Boba Fett attachment, right? As far as I knew, he got killed by Han Solo by getting hit with a stick, and then that's Boba Fett, right? Yeah, and so I didn't have that attachment, or same thing. As big of a fan as Star Wars as I am, but I'll say this, and I've been explaining it to people this way: is that when they first took over, or not took over, I'm sorry, when Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were first making Mandalorian, they initially kind of wanted to do a Boba Fett show. Right, so the Boba Fett that everybody wanted by proxy ended up becoming Mandalorian. So when you're going to do Boba Fett, you have to do it differently. You can't make him the same character. True. And that's a lot of the reason I think we're having this divergence on that is because he's old man Boba. It's not Boba from like you read in the comics and things of that nature. This is old man Boba.
And that we already now have the Mandalorian who is what everybody wanted Boba Fett to be when they were kids.
Yeah. And I like the show a lot. I honestly did. I've fallen in love with Fennec Shand. I think Ming-Na Wen does great work as Fennec, and that's.
I loved her.
Yeah.
Loved her.
Excellent.
Yeah, I agree.
Excellent. And I think Tamora's great as Boba. I don't think he's a bad actor or anything like that.
Same.
Yeah. And I think I do agree though. The Power Rangers stuff and all that was ridiculous. That stuff I could have done without. And I understood they were they were trying to tribute American Graffiti. I understood what they were going for. It just didn't play as well as it would have on paper, maybe. So that was kind of where I was at with it. And there are episodes that you're like, that didn't play well. And it does make me wonder between that and Obi-Wan because Filoni got hired as head of creative, like where's that vibe for all these shows? Like it does make me wonder like between Obi-Wan and Boba Fett, like why hasn't it been on the same level of Mando? But again, I think Andor's going to bring it all back around. Like I really do. Yeah.
I think what's true too, because like this didn't really sink in for me until this was the thing that like Kathleen Kennedy said, I think at like Star Wars Celebration a couple months ago about the Han Solo movie, which I honestly want to go back and revisit because I infamously am a big hater of the Solo movie. But to be honest, the more I felt deeply disappointed and like betrayed by that movie. It was a rough viewing experience, and I've only seen it the one time in that theater. But the more that I've dived into canon and the more that I think about it, the more I'm like, you know what? I think I should give it another shot. I think I might find things to like about it now that I'm older, now that I know more in the canon and everything. Kathleen Kennedy was like, she was like, with the Solo movie, we realized that fans just refuse to accept like new versions of old characters and that they don't want to see recasted versions of old characters. And I was like, that's like the 7th thing wrong with the Solo movie. Like if you're going on like top 10 things that we needed to fix about why Solo didn't make as much money, that is low on the list. The fact that it was a recasting of a character that we knew so well. So I think but that's what she said. That's what they took away from it, that's what we don't like. And which is ridiculous. But I really think a part of them is they're really scared to touch the characters that they know are really beloved. Like they want to do a Boba Fett show, but they don't want to go too deep. They don't want to go full into, lore and backstory because they don't want to mess with like the sanctity of the originals. They don't want to go too deep on Obi-Wan Kenobi, go too deep into his lore, change too many things, go have too many of all these things because he's sacred, and to them we don't want to see them mess with sacred characters, but like we do if it's good. We do if it adds to the story.
I think with the rewatch of Solo, something to keep in mind is a lot of the lore that they lay out is actually very interesting when you really start to think about it. And so I have this new theory that I've been kind of playing with in my head that I actually think, this is my take, and I don't know if you saw this leak. So in Mexico Disney Plus, the Latino Disney Plus, they have actually already announced Boba Fett season 2 on the Disney Plus service there, and somebody took a screenshot of it, put it out there.
D23 coming up.
All the cause they'll announce it soon, I'm sure, because they took a screenshot of all the upcoming Star Wars things, and in Mexico, if you have Disney Plus, apparently Boba Fett, it's on there, like as an announcement. Season 2 is coming, so. Crazy. So that's interesting. So I actually have a real good theory, and this is a good reason to rewatch Solo. I think Kira is Cad Bane's boss. I think she's running all of that crime syndicate stuff going on in Boba Fett, and I think we're going to get into that in season 2.
I'd be into that.
That's my personal take, and you got to bring Kira back. You can't just leave that story left the way it was at the end of Solo. You have to. It's a cliffhanger that hasn't been.
And you know what, too? Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
And so I'm working my way through like the Star Wars comics right now, and like I'm on the 2015 run right now.
Yeah.
But I heard there's like a newer 2020 run where that's still being released right now.
She's in there.
That's like about Crimson Dawn, and Kira's in it, and it's about like bounty hunters and like and that's those are being released like right now. Yep. So
it would only make sense.
Not saying, but yeah.
I think
it would make a lot of sense.
I think she's running that whole operation in the Boba Fett series that we were seeing. I think she's in charge of all that, and it does make a lot of sense.
She would fit in really well.
Yeah, because what are they doing? They're running Spice. I mean, it makes so much sense, the fact that she was left in a place where she was, and so I think they need to do that for season 2, but that's a pipe dream, maybe.
I think that could get people back in. People who didn't like season 1 of Book of Boba Fett, I think that might, because again, like they're small but mighty, the people who love Solo, and again, even people who hated Solo were still like, yeah, but that Kira storyline was kind of interesting. I wouldn't like, it wasn't really her storyline that a lot of people hated. I don't remember.
No,
so that could get a lot of people back into that.
I think she has the best news story that they brought into Solo, like the lore with her and Maul, and especially when you get to Star Wars Rebels, you're really, I think, going to be extra curious about what did happen with Kira and Maul when you get to Rebels. But that's just, something for.
And oh my God, let me tell you, I never in my life gave a single shit about Darth Maul. Never in my single life. And then I watched the Clone Wars, and now I'm like, Darth Maul's one of the best characters in Star Wars. Darth Maul is phenomenal. Where's more Darth Maul? Show me more Darth Maul. Because I remember, because again, I had not seen the Clone Wars when I saw Solo. So when he showed up, I literally was like, what the fuck?
It's so
that's not.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, oh my God, I would have lost my goddamn mind if I had seen the Clone Wars, knowing what I know now when Solo came out.
So how do you feel about Asajj Ventress now that you're in Clone Wars as well?
Love Asajj Ventress. I think she's such an interesting character.
Okay, so
I can't wait to read. I know Dark Disciple,
read Dark
right?
Disciple.
She has a book.
Read Dark Disciple.
I know. I'm working. That's on my list. I think after season 6, right, is when I can read it.
That's her.
I'll be reading. And the Ahsoka novel, the Ahsoka. Right, is in between Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah,
gotta read that. Yeah.
So I'll say.
Oh, I know. I'm on the forums. I know the things.
Let me tell you this though. Okay, so a couple things just to set your expectations right. So, well, first off, Dark Disciple. I'm sure you know it's Asajj and Quinlan. So,
yes,
get ready to cry when you read that novel.
Which also like, because he's only been in one episode of Clone Wars that I've seen. And when I saw him, I was like, because I knew that was like the plot of it, that they like fall in love. That's like their love story. And I was like, how the fuck do we get there?
Don't you think
these are two of the most like polar opposite people in this universe? How do we get here? But it's probably phenomenal. I'm going to cry probably. I know. But
don't you think O'Shea Jackson Jr. would have been a good Quinlan Vos?
He totally would have.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah,
110%. What the hell?
He's mentioned in Obi-Wan. He's mentioned Quinlan, and then they don't use him. But
he would have. He really would have.
He would have been great. But
missed opportunity.
I would say this too, though.
And he's mentioned. I know.
But do you know Quinlan Vos is in the Phantom Menace?
Yeah.
You do know that.
Is he?
Yeah.
Right.
He's.
I think I heard that.
He's in there for like a second. You got to pause. If you blink, you'll miss him. That's how long he's in there. But he's in there.
Because isn't like Oh my god, what's her name? Luminara Unduli. That's her name, right? That Jedi. She's like green and she has an
Yeah.
apprentice.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
She's also right
Don't
in
get me
the back.
started on
Someone
Luminara.
told me that too, and I was like, she's not in the prequels, right? And it's like, oh no, she's in the back of like Phantom Menace or something.
Yeah, you're in season 5, right?
She's great too, by the way. Loved her
You're in
character.
season
Yes.
5. Oh my
Episode
god.
1, season 5.
You're
Yes.
gonna be destroyed. Oh, I can't even say it. I
Oh,
can't say it, but it has to do with
no.
Luminara.
No. Well, I know
Luminara.
eventually what happens to all the Jedi. Like I know.
No, but do you know what happens to
eventually.
Luminara specifically? That's
Not
important.
specifically.
That's important. No, you don't. You'll be blown away by the whole story. But
no.
let me say this too, though.
So sad because I loved her. I love her character.
So
yeah,
you have to watch Rebels because
it's like Quinlan Voss, right?
Well, there's
after I get through Clone Wars, that's immediately what I'm watching.
You have to, because I've seen the Ahsoka trailer, and you have to watch Rebels. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
you have to.
I did hear a rumor that there was like a stained glass picture in it, like a stained glass window,
That's
and
important.
it was like of the animated characters,
That's important.
and like everybody cried.
You have.
I did hear
it.
that. Sorry if no one wanted that spoiled, but I did hear about that.
It's out there. I mean, it's important. You need to know what happens. But the Ahsoka novel, this is where I was going with this. So I want to set your expectations right. So there's something in the Ahsoka novel. I call it the gray pages, and the pages in the book are literally, they're gray. And all the gray pages are like flashbacks to stuff that happened in the Clone Wars. You're going to read those and you're going to be like, it doesn't line up with the Clone Wars exactly. But you got to kind of look at it as like, okay, this is the point of view of E.K. Johnston of what happened. And that's fine. It's like, I look at the gray pages as like myth, not canon. You know what I mean?
I can forgive that.
That's the way I look at the gray pages. People go, retcon. But it's like, I think the pages are gray the way they are because it is supposed to be myth, not canon. You know what I mean? Like the way that the gray pages,
like the way she remembers it, kind of. Yeah.
So don't like go in that with that mindset, and I think you'll really love that novel through and through. Because like if you look at it as like this is just a version of the legend of what happened in the Clone Wars, and then you're gonna watch the Clone Wars, and you're gonna be like, well, that's not exactly what happened. It's so it's different. There's different things and events, but for the most part, we're good with like when you see the ending of Clone Wars, you're gonna be very, very satisfied. That's all I'm gonna say, because it's I mean, I don't know, what do you have I mean, I know you know some things, like go ahead and say what you know. What do you know about the ending? I won't affirm it or anything, but like what do you think you know anyway?
So I know that Satine dies, and I know that Maul kills her, and I know that there's like a siege of Mandalore, and I think the two are connected, because I'm like, well, they have to be connected. I know that happens eventually.
Not really.
And then I know that the last. Not really in the way that I'm like.
No, not the way you're thinking it. So I think
cool.
it's still
Cool
good,
then.
But yeah, because the way you're explaining it, I think you don't
because
have the full picture.
Okay, because I know that Satine dies just because I've heard that in life. People talking about like Obi-Wan Kenobi's dead girlfriend. Like I've just heard that in life. Being a Star Wars fan, but then I just know because like in Mandalorian they talk about like the siege of Mandalore and Bo-Katan and all of that and the Death Watch, and like I know where that goes just because I've seen the Mandalorian. But that's kind of it. And then I know that like the last couple episodes of season 7 are like literally Revenge of the Sith. And then I know that like they got canceled in season 6, and that some of season 6 is not the best. That's about it. I think that's all the things that I know.
Do you
I don't think I know anything else.
Do you have a theory of like how it's gonna end specifically though at this point? Like what the actual like last scenes are gonna be? Do you have like a theory on that? Or?
Well, so I know it's got to be okay. I don't remember exactly. In Revenge of the Sith, is that Cody that gets the message from Palpatine for Order 66?
Cody does, yes. Cody does.
Is that him?
Shoots down Obi-Wan on the thing. Yeah, that's Cody.
So like that has to be horrific. That all of the clones like getting orders, like Rex. Oh my god, like I love Rex. I can't even imagine what Rex is gonna have to go through. When Order 66 goes through, like I don't even want to think about it. Like it's emotional to think about that. That's probably gonna have to happen. I know Ahsoka gets out, she survives, and I don't know how or why, but I know
Obviously
that has to happen.
because she's but
yeah, because
okay.
I've seen The Mandalorian and everything. But yeah,
all that makes me excited. Your mindset on that, because I think you're going to be very, very surprised by it all, and just very
nice,
super duper satisfied. Because I'm not saying you're 100% wrong. What I will say is you definitely have no idea. That's all I'm gonna say.
There's a lot of pieces that I'm missing.
You're missing so much of it, and I love that you're missing so much of it. Like, honestly, because like I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
It's going to surprise you and satisfy you so much. And
it's been great watching it.
I think Rebels is really going to blow your mind, especially the aspects of Clone Wars that you seem to dig is a lot of the stuff that gets carried over to Rebels. And so like when you're done with season 2 of Rebels, you're going to be like, I had no idea that Star Wars could be this good. Like I think you're really going to like have that. Like I had no idea that the shared universe of it all could be this good anyway. Like I think that's where you're going to kind of be with it. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
There are so many things. Yeah. There have been so many things watching the Clone Wars. Like one of the biggest takeaways is just how many like things in Star Wars where it always made sense to me, like in my brain, but I've been realizing how many things I didn't understand.
You don't have the full picture.
And then watching the Clone Wars, I'm like, oh, I understand this now. Yeah. I realized I never had the full picture before. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of like the politics too. Like there are some episodes that do the politics phenomenally. Yeah. In the Clone Wars, and I never realized that was possible to do politics well in Star Wars, but it is. I've seen it, things like that, and like Padme's character too. I've never, because like I always appreciated Padme, but I never like fully kind of grasped her importance in the world and like who she really is, and like how big of a thorn she really is in Palpatine's side, and how the fact that like her and Anakin get taken out at the same time, like how tragic that really is and how important it was for like both of them, they're both like linchpins in the fall of their like respective thing. All of that never again, like I like kind of got it, like I was like kind of, but now I'm like really get it. A lot of things like that have happened.
Be honest. Okay, so because you and I started watching it, right? And you said you liked it. I believe you. I believe that you liked the stuff that we saw. I believe that. And when I said it gets great, you didn't think it was this great. Come on, be honest. Like you didn't.
Well, no, because we never got past like half. I think like
we got like into season 2 somewhere. Yeah.
And I did go like release order for this rewatch.
That's
I didn't do the whole.
No, that's a good way to go. I love release order. So that's perfect.
Yeah. I just made a choice of like, I don't want to have to look at the StarWars.com list every time I start a new episode. We're just gonna roll the punches.
Fair. How that's fair. And you'll still get
Cartoon Network intended them. Yeah, and I still got everything.
You'll still get it. Yeah,
and I could tell when things were like prequels to episodes.
That's fine.
Because that'll happen a lot. There'll be like a prequel to an episode you've seen before. Yeah.
Oh, so you got to oh my god. So you saw what happened, because I know he was one of your favorite characters when we were watching it. You got to why can't I think of his name now? The old clone.
I don't remember.
The older clone.
Oh, 99.
99,
yes. I know.
Or are you sad? I bet you were super sad.
I was very sad. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
We love him. Another thing, the clones, man. It's so like good. It almost hurts me, George Lucas, that you just denied us all of these things about the clones in the prequels, because it makes it so much more interesting and better, and you actually understand how the war is working and how it's affecting people. And how like, and it's true, like it's what these people were made in a lab and raised to only do war and only to fight, and are like they're only brothers to each other, and like it's like that's so interesting and phenomenal, and it's just nowhere in the prequels, but that's phenomenal.
Throughout the entire,
in the Clone Wars, I love every time they do a clone focused episode.
Throughout the entirety of Clone Wars, I constantly kept going back. I think you say what you will about season 1, that first episode is so important with Yoda, because the way he's talking about how all of them have their own individual personalities, and that's how they're going to prevail. Like that is so important throughout the story as you're going through it, because they do all have their own individual characteristics, and you do fall in love with them as individual people. And the fact that,
and I imagine when Order 66 hits, that's gonna be the thing that like is the reason of their struggle, because they're like they're gonna realize that they are individuals. You know what I mean? They can't be told in a hive mind what to do, or can they? You know,
right?
That type of shit.
Right, exactly. No, you're right on track with
that's what I'm anticipating.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait till you finish this thing out. I really can't, because first thing, you got, make sure you text me when you're done with season 5, because the ending of season 5 is major. So make sure you text me by the end of that. And and like as you go through this, keep up with me on this, because I really want to know. You're making me want to go back and watch it again now. All the Clone Wars.
I do know something where like Ahsoka, because I have heard the thing before of Ahsoka being like, I am no Jedi. Like that was a thing I've heard before.
Yeah, there's more Ahsoka to that. Says. You're gonna find out why
at some point. Okay.
By the end of the season, you're going to find out why she says that at some point. That's all.
Yeah, which also makes a lot of sense of why she's not in Revenge of the Sith.
It does.
They had to give a reason to make that make sense.
They do a good job at that. And like I don't know how you feel about this, but I actually do feel like Rebels is Ezra's show to me. Like Star Wars Rebels, it belongs to the character of Ezra Bridger. It's his show. He's the main character. I think Clone Wars is Ahsoka's show. Like I think at the end of the day, even though there's a lot happening, there's a lot of layers, it's Ahsoka's show. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know if you feel that same way. I think you will by the end, if not. But like to me, it belongs to Ahsoka.
Yeah, like, no, it's her like, it's her like becoming.
Yeah,
you know. It's her, like, she's the one that I feel like goes through the most amount of change.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole show.
Yeah.
You know?
So what'd you think of Mortis?
Yeah, she's the one we've definitely, and she literally is growing up, you know?
Right.
So we're literally seeing her growing up. Oh my God. I love those Mortis episodes. That blew me away. I was gagged, shocked, stunned. Could not believe what I was seeing. That was good.
So now you understand.
That was pretty phenomenal.
So now you'll understand when I say that the final duel in the original episode 9 script was supposed to take place on Mortis, how big that is. Like the fact that didn't happen in the original script that Trevorrow wrote for episode 9. Like, because it makes sense. That's where Kylo Ren was going to go to like get all these like force of this ultimate force power. He was supposed to go to Mortis to do that. And that's where the Duel of the Fates, because that was the original title for 9, was going to happen, was at Mortis, between him and Rey. That's unbelievable that they didn't use that, to me. Like that
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that. Okay.
Unbelievable. But yeah, those Mortis episodes are incredible. Yeah. Unbelievable.
They were really phenomenal. Yeah. I love to, like, one of the best parts was because I mean, I love the whole thing, like the brother, the sister, and the father, like all of that was phenomenal. But like every time they had like how they all got like visions of, like, Obi-Wan had like a Qui-Gon vision, and like Anakin like sees his whole future and then has to forget about it, and then like Ahsoka sees herself telling her to like get away from Anakin while she still can. Like that was some of the like. That's what really drove it home for me. That was phenomenal. That was heavy. Yeah. That was great. There have been so many times where I'm like, this shit aired on the Cartoon Network.
Yeah,
this is dark. Like some
that's
of
what I mean. Yeah,
Dathomir stuff.
It's surprising.
And, like, the Nightwood sisters and Savage Opress. That's some dark stuff.
It is.
That's some scary stuff for a kids show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Maul and well, actually, you might not be there yet, so I'm not going to say it. Not going to say it. But
they like just fought, spoiler alert for the end of season 4 of the Clone Wars, but they just fought Ventress and Obi-Wan like teamed up, and they fought Maul and
so you're not there yet.
for the first time. I'm not going to give it away. Peace out.
Not going to give it away. You haven't seen the darkest thing they do yet, so I'm not going to give that stuff away for you. You're not there yet.
Doesn't ring a bell. So cool. Okay.
Yeah. Nice. I was gonna ask, have you seen the collection of there's like 3 episodes that are mainly focused on the droids, and they're strangely some of my favorites, like 3PO and R2. And there's like a 3 episode.
No, I know what you're talking about. It's like a sunny day in the void or
They get
something,
like straight
right?
Isn't
that the title?
Those are awesome.
Yeah. No,
Those are
that's in season
awesome.
5. That's coming up. I saw that. Like
Yeah.
I scrolled through like the episode titles and I saw that.
Wait till you get there.
That's coming up.
I
Okay.
strangely love those episodes. At first you're gonna be like, I don't get the
Okay.
point of this.
I could tell they look like they were either going to be some of the best episodes or the worst episodes of the whole series. I couldn't tell, but it's one or the other.
At first you're gonna be like, what's the point of this? But then when you get there, you're gonna be like, oh wow, that's cool that they actually went there with this. Like it has a point. So
okay,
it's actually strangely it does. It feels like a divergence from the rest of the show, but it ends up being strangely a really beautiful arc within itself. Like it really does. It's actually really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And Filoni said that was his sort of real tribute to New Hope, because of 3PO and R2 kind of being the sort of, way to look into that. So he wanted
following them for so long.
He wanted to do something separate with them, and it feels separate, but when you get to the end, it's like that was a cool self-contained kind of story that kind of still connects at the same time. It just feels like it's a different vibe. So I really, really enjoy those. Speaking of Colin Trevorrow, something that surprised me in 2022 was Jurassic World Dominion. I did not like it at all, but the fact that it didn't...
Still haven't seen it.
It's terrible.
I haven't seen it because I heard it wasn't good.
It's terrible. It's just as bad as the last one, and that surprises me, because the way I've been with this is I really like Jurassic World. I like the first Jurassic World.
I did not like the last one.
I didn't like the last one, but I like the first one. The first Jurassic World was good.
Jurassic World is at least like watchable. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. To me, it's the best since Jurassic Park, at least. Like I'll give it that. And Trevorrow did that.
Yeah.
That was Trevorrow's movie, and then the second one Trevorrow didn't do. It was a different director. I can't remember his name. He's actually done some good stuff, but Fallen Kingdom was terrible.
I don't remember either. Yeah.
So I thought with the the big cast coming back in Dominion and Trevorrow taking back over, and I've read his episode 9 script, so I know he could stick a landing. This is going to be phenomenal, and the movie stinks. It's terrible. It's as bad as the last one, and there's maybe one or two more redeemable things than the last one had, but it's just as much of a mess. It's awful. It's one of the biggest pieces of dog shit. It's the biggest piece of dog shit I've seen all year, without a doubt, is Jurassic World Dominion. It is awful.
Wow.
It's awful. And I couldn't believe how bad it was. I really could not believe how bad this thing was. It's terrible.
Yeah, skip that one.
Good.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I think I'm going to remain skipping on that one.
It's horseshit.
My parents saw it. They saw it without me. They were like on vacation and just wanted something to do. So they were like, we're going to go see the new Jurassic Park. And I was like, all right. And they were like, yeah, that was not it.
I don't understand. It's horseshit. It was so bad. And the, oh my God, it's terrible. I don't understand like how it turned out so bad, because, and the other thing I thought that one was going to make $1 billion easily this year, because
it could have, if it was really good, it could have.
The last one was shit and made $1 billion, the last one was terrible.
Because the first one was, maybe, good enough.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I thought this was going to easily make $1 billion, but it didn't. Even though I hated it, I still thought it'd make the $1 billion. But the big surprise this year was Top Gun. Top Gun was awesome this year. Top Gun was amazing. I thought Top Gun Maverick destroyed. I mean, it really was.
Top Gun.
So
is that still the highest? What are the highest grossing movies of the summer right now?
It's Top Gun.
That
right
one
now.
has to
it's
be.
Top Gun. It's Top Gun.
Yeah, number one
of the year. I mean, it's the highest grossing. It's incredible.
The whole year.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It keeps breaking records. Like it doesn't stop.
Which is wild in a summer of 2 Marvel movies. Top Gun.
I know. Isn't it? It's kind of crazy, but I mean, this is why I say, like, I think they need to, I love the TV shows and stuff, but I think they need to pump the brakes a little bit on streaming, because Tom Cruise just proved to everybody you could still, the business is still in the theaters. That's proven now. Like,
people will come to movies if they think it's going to be good and they care. Yeah, they will still go. Yeah, it's just realistic. There's so many things that are so difficult nowadays that you have to find like the one thing people still care about, and we still cared about Top Gun, so it worked out.
Yeah, and it's honestly, and I'm gonna say it very simply. I know everything is subjective, but at the same time, like, Top Gun is really just that good. It's not my favorite of the year, but it's really that good. Like, it's
a solid flick. Yeah, it reminded me of like a really like a 90s or like an early 2000s, just kind of like fun, like, action movie where it's like the stakes are what they are, they're what they for the characters need, and it's just like, I hate to say it was like a small, quiet little film because like it definitely wasn't,
No.
but you know what I mean? It reminded
do.
like an older type of storytelling.
Yeah, and
of like the 90s 2000s persuasion.
That's 100% why it works, I think, because like I think people, there are certain people that you do need to move on, but beyond that type of storytelling, but there are only certain filmmakers in this industry that can really do it. And so if you don't have that filmmaker on hand, then go back to the old way of storytelling like Top Gun did, because it works still. It's not a bad way of telling stories. You know what I mean? The style of the way that Top Gun told the story, it's not a bad way. It still does work. Unless you have like a really good auteur, you're just not going to move beyond that or advance that type of storytelling. So why try, you know? And I think Top Gun, it's a movie that knows exactly what it is, and it stays in its lane, and it knows that. And it did things that were, it's better than the first Top Gun. It is. It's better than the original at the same time. For me, it's still
for
is.
me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I think it is. I've heard a lot of people agree with my sentiment, and I it's fine if you like the original. You should, because it's nostalgic, right? And
I think it was at least like just as good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's a good sequel. It's a way to do a sequel, like, and it works. You know what I mean? Like I know, like,
and it worked. It did.
I know Force Awakens is easy to harp on now, you know, but because like I get it, JJ, he did go back to a lot of nostalgia when he made that movie, when he made Force Awakens, but it worked. The way he did it worked at Force Awakens, at least. It really, really did, and like I
think more so at the time than in retrospect, but
Yeah, but it worked. It made money. It did business. And the reason it did is because it was, as you know, my point is like, you can, I hate that I can't do an episode without bringing up Last Jedi, but this is just what I'm trying to say with Top Gun, you know.
It's $1 in the swear jar.
It really is, but I want to get my point across with Top Gun, so I'm going to mention it for this real quick bit. So, Force Awakens is one style of storytelling, and then Last Jedi is a completely different style of storytelling. They very much so.
For sure.
And that's part of why this trilogy didn't work at the end of the day, unless they used Trevorrow's script, and it probably would have worked because it connects everything together. But that's a pet
or
peeve.
if they just would have had a goddamn plan, if they had a freaking meeting in 2014 and they sat down and they went, all right, let's plan these 3 movies like every other Star Wars thing before us. Let's plan out a 3-story arc.
Well, read that Trevorrow script and tell me that they didn't, though. You know.
Well, yeah. Well, I think that might. Yeah, I mean, again, I haven't read it, but
read it and
I don't know. My first inclination would be like he just saved it. You know what I mean? It's not that it was planned; it's that he just like saved it.
He made it feel planned. It feels planned, regardless.
Yeah.
When you read it, it feels planned. Like it feels like they had a plan that they ditched when you read that Trevorrow.
Yeah,
script.
which I think might be more on him than the studio, and I needed the studio to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. So
because that Till the Day I Die, that's going to be my issue. I feel like with the sequel trilogy, is like it doesn't feel like 3 parts to one story. It feels like 3 individual movies. It's so weird.
Back to my Top Gun point, because I really didn't want to do a sequel diatribe, but like really, I really did not. The only point I was making, the only point I was trying to make is like, just because they're 2 different styles of storytelling, neither one of those styles are bad. You know, one director is just better at doing the nostalgia play, and the other director is just better at original storytelling. And so with each movie, you do have to stay in your lane. So like with Top Gun, they stayed in their lane, and that's why it really worked. With Jurassic World Dominion, I don't know what the fuck they're doing in that. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to advance it. They're trying so hard to advance it that it just, you know what I mean? They're trying too hard to do that. And I think that's where we're seeing these dips and failures and things in a lot of these stories is the fact that you do have to do something different. Don't get me wrong. Like Force Awakens has new characters. It has new scenes. So you have to do something different. But in Top Gun, same thing.
But fundamentally at the storytelling level, it's, you know.
Prey's a good example.
Very similar.
Prey does everything the first Predator did, but with new characters, a couple new ideas, a couple new pieces of lore. We still get to see the Predator itself, do things we haven't seen the Predator do before, but the structure is still the same. And for some filmmakers, that's the way to go. But you have to recognize that if you're the studio, you know what I mean? You need to recognize what type of movie do we want to do? Who's the best director to do that type of movie, you know, and not hire the person that's like not good at that. You know, if you want to make a real new wacky type of storytelling, you get Rian Johnson or Taika Waititi or people like that. You don't get J.J. Abrams to try to do a new type of storytelling or whatever the case may be. And that's why I think that's really why a lot of these dips are happening with these nostalgic type franchises and things. But yeah, was there anything else that came out this year that you had to point out or that you can think of? Because like,
let me look on my list real quick.
I'm trying to think too at this point, because I think I've gone through the ones that I was like adamant about bringing up.
Big ones, yeah.
A really quick announcement, not that came out this year, that just as in terms of an announcement, the Avengers movies was a big surprise to me. The fact that we're getting 2 Avengers movies, not too far out from each other to end out Phase 6 in Marvel. I think that's extremely exciting and a huge announcement.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think of this? Like,
yeah. And I was very happy with those announcements.
Yeah.
Like the Comic-Con announcements and everything. Very hyped. Very excited. I really hope we get like because again, spoiler alert for Miss Marvel, but like a big gasp came out of my mouth when the word mutant was said, that Kamala was a mutant. Like I freaked out. I loved it. Loved that. So really hope we get some more X-Men stuff soon. Hope we get some more Fantastic Four stuff soon, because I have been hyped about that for a really long time.
Yeah.
I'm just very excited. Because I feel like I was one of those people for sure who was like, hey, where are we going?
Yeah.
Like, I just need to know where we're going, because it's so unclear where we are going right now in Phase 4. And so, like, knowing that, like, the Kang Dynasty thing is coming, and, you know, Secret Wars, and the fact that there's, like, we're building to X-Men eventually, we're building to Fantastic Four eventually, like, knowing that, like, gives me a little bit clearer to hear it, like, from Kevin Feige's mouth that these things are for sure, you know, on the books.
There is a plan.
So, yeah, it just made me more excited.
No, absolutely.
There is. Yeah. I mean, I always knew there was a plan. I just wanted to know what it was.
Yeah, I think that's where everybody's kind of been with this latest phase of Marvel, is like, we just don't feel the plan. Well, you got to reset. Though. Yeah. You got to reset. You got to rebuild a little bit. And I think that's what they've been doing.
And it is very Phase 1-ish. Like, a lot of people have been saying, like, this phase feels very, right now it feels like we're in Phase 1 again. And it does. And I feel like that's on purpose.
It's definitely on purpose, I think. And so I know you weren't massive.
We're getting a lot of origin stories right now.
Absolutely. So I know you weren't massive on Shang-Chi, but what do you think of Dustin Daniel Cretton doing the Kang Dynasty for the Avengers movies? So.
I'm hyped about that.
Okay, good.
Because again, the direction was not what I was mad about. There were some things in like the writing that I didn't love about Shang-Chi, but like the acting, directing, and you know, the CGI was not my issue with it. Yeah. So I'm hyped for that. Yeah,
I was just curious because I know you were.
I'm so hyped for also like Ant-Man Quantumania.
Oh my god, I think people are sleeping on that movie.
That was not on my radar at all. And then hearing it, I think they are too, because like that was not on my radar at all. And then hearing them talk about it from Comic-Con, I was like, oh wait, this might be like what I thought Doctor Strange was, where it's like, you know, that kind of next push into where we're going next.
The stuff coming out of that sounds incredible. And I think the same thing for Guardians 3. I think Guardians 3 is going to be a much bigger deal than people are giving it credit for right now. I think there's going to be, because it's the final Guardians movie, apparently. So I think that's a big deal. And I think a lot of people aren't really realizing like what that means. But I think as we get closer, we're going to get that No Way Home type hype for it, because it's going to feel
it really is. That movie. Yeah. Guardians 3 is really, again, has a very big opportunity to be huge, because I didn't even realize until like I heard people were like crying at that trailer, and then I really thought about it, and I'm like, no, it's true. I saw every Guardians movie like the Thursday night it came out in theaters, only 2 of them. But like everything the Guardians have been in, I have been there day one, and I knew nothing about them. Nobody knew anything about them before. I didn't. And like I realized I was.
Oh, did I lose it completely?
Are we good?
I just need your video back. But yeah, I just need your video to come
stopped.
back.
It's coming. It's coming.
Let me know when it's back. I'll put it back on you. But yeah, All right,
Okay.
there we go. We're back. Okay, so
Okay,
no,
try it again. There it is.
I agree
What
with
we
you.
talk about? I didn't realize how much nostalgia and emotions I had for Guardians 3 until I realized that it was coming to an end, and now I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
I have real feelings about this.
Yeah, I think another big problem with that people are having, or the struggle people are having with Phase 4, is because No Way Home was such a big event film. So I think everybody was like, so everything from now on has to be an event film. And it's not, and that's fine. I think that's fine that it hasn't been, but I think
that was the last thing I feel like that really hit, like, for movies and TV.
No Way Home, I mean, we can't deny, let me know when your video's back again, but like No Way Home, there's no denying how spectacular of an event that was, like to have, like, because No Way Home, in all honesty, was like, it was like our last Avengers Endgame, like in a big way. Like there was something different about No Way Home when it was coming out. But yeah, are we having problems?
Webcam, we're working on it. My webcam just turned off.
You're good.
Plugged it and replugged it.
Yeah,
so we're working on it.
Yeah, but in retrospect, yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home was such a spectacular event. So, I mean, I just think that, yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, I mean,
that was the last thing that really, really hit with everybody and was just like culturally everything. Was No Way Home.
For me, it's still Shang-Chi. I think Shang-Chi is the best of Phase 4. Like Spider-Man No Way Home's like right under that for me, if anything. But like, I still think like Shang-Chi was like, it's still in my top 3 Marvel movies. It might be my second favorite of all of them. That's me. But that was just my take on Shang-Chi. But yeah, so for me, it's still the Shang-Chi of it. But yeah, I think that I think Phase 5, we are going to start getting more event type films out of it. Like the Quantumania, it's ending the Ant-Man trilogy. I don't know if it's going to be the
Guardians 3.
Guardians 3. And
yeah.
And I don't know. Do you think Krasinski is going to be Reed Richards? Are you convinced?
I don't think so. I'm not convinced. I just don't think so. I think, I don't know. I really kind of took that cameo to kind of be like, hey, it's me. I'm going to be here. Just like, I don't think Patrick Stewart is going to be our Charles Xavier. Like, I think they're going to recast somebody to be Charles Xavier. Like, I don't think any of those people up there are actually, real. Like, I think all of them were, like wink, wink cameos.
Yeah. The thing about Krasinski, and I agreed with you for the longest time that I didn't think he was going to be our permanent Reed Richards, but I have changed my mind recently because John Krasinski, here's the thing. So Fantastic Four, we could safely say, got announced like 2 years ago as a project that was seemed like it was coming up sooner than later. But now it's been pushed to Phase 6. It's now been pushed to Phase 6 officially, which is
the opening Phase 6, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And so that's interesting to me because Krasinski's doing a project right now called If. So why push it? That's one thing. The second thing is that all the TV spots for the Doctor Strange Blu-ray and everything, they're showing all the members of the Illuminati except Krasinski, which is interesting. I find that to be very interesting as well, that they're strangely leaving him out. The third thing, the nail in the coffin that made me think, okay, he's definitely doing it, is, well, it's the John Watts of it all. The John Watts was supposed to do it. Magically has a scheduling conflict, or not scheduling conflict, magically feels too tired to want to do a Fantastic
just
Four.
Steps away.
And so like, what? And then he gets announced to do the Skeleton Crew show for Star Wars right after that.
That's right.
So I forgot about Skeleton Crew, really too tired to do a big franchise type thing right now, John Watts? Or did Kevin Feige say,
or did Krasinski take a meeting with Feige?
I think Kevin Feige went up to John Watts and was like, dude, I need a solid.
Listen,
I'm going to give you your choice Marvel film in the future. Whatever one you want to do, I'm giving it to you. But
just not this one.
Krasinski, the only way we get him to be Reed Richards is if he directs 2. It comes with the package.
I think if he's in it, he'll definitely direct it. I don't think there's any way he's in it and doesn't direct it.
The only other person, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but I pulled this out when we were doing our Comic-Con predictions. I was actually surprised a director didn't get announced for Fantastic Four, at least. But D23, it'll happen. I guarantee it. But
We get casting too.
That
would be awesome.
Guarantee it.
Yeah.
It's going to happen probably.
I want that to be like and one last thing.
It will be.
There's about 4 spots missing up here.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Something like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's going to be how they end that panel.
That would be everything. Yeah.
But the only other person, and the reason you're going to call me crazy when I say the name, but then hear me out. Steven Spielberg, I think there's a fair shot that he's doing it. And the reason why is because...
Okay, go on.
Well, okay, number one, West Side Story did pretty well. It
killed,
well.
Yeah.
And it's the first Spielberg in a movie in a while to do that well that I can think of off the top of my head.
That was like box office and critically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Critically, because Ready Player One had the box office, didn't have the critically.
Yeah.
The Post had the critics, didn't have the box office.
Didn't have the fans, yeah.
Now he's back. He's got a resurgence.
Yeah.
So 2 things that happened, very important to me, that makes me think Spielberg might be doing Fantastic Four. Number one, he's a Fantastic Four fan. It's the one thing he's come out comic book wise and said he's a fan.
Really?
So number
interesting.
one,
okay.
He's a Fantastic Four fan, and it makes sense because they're one of the earliest superheroes, right? So like super comic book things. So it makes sense that he's of that fandom. The second reason is because he dropped out of Indiana Jones 5. That's the other reason that I think that it's a possibility, is because he dropped that. So I don't know, but I'm saying that I think if not Krasinski, I think people should look at Spielberg and say it's a possibility because of those 2 things right there. He dropped out of Indy 5 and
that would be a game changer.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Yeah. And he was a part of Indy 5.
That's true. He's not doing Indy 5.
But he was a part of it, which means he's in the Disney cycle. He's in the conversation with Disney.
Right.
Somewhere, right? Or at some point he was. I don't know. It's a possibility. It's something to think about. And the second thing, and if Spielberg directs it, Krasinski's doing it because Krasinski loves Spielberg, and that's another reason I think it's a possibility.
Want to work with him? Yes.
He pays homage to Spielberg all the time.
Do you think that would be like the bait? It'd be real funny if if Kevin Feige's like, okay, John, listen, what do I have to do?
It could be part
to get you to be in this movie, and John Krasinski was like, get me Steven Spielberg, and I'm in.
I think he probably said one of 2 things. Either I directed or Spielberg does. Like that's a possibility because he loves Steven Spielberg. He talks about it all the time. Who doesn't love
Steven Spielberg?
He pays homage. He talked about the one summer him and Emily Blunt watched Jaws 12 times in a row.
Wow.
And then it was like before they were even married, they were just dating and that was
their bonding.
They watched Jaws 12 times in a row together or something like that.
Yeah.
Or 12 times in one summer. But either way, they just couldn't stop watching Jaws.
Yeah.
And when you watch A Quiet Place, it makes so much sense when you start.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I think that's definitely a possibility. But yeah. Anyway, it's been a crazy year, Sammy, and I'm so happy that you're here to talk to me about it and all that, and I don't know, I think I just lost you, but oh no, you're back, you're here. So anyway, I'm so happy you're here.
I think you're a little slow. Say that again.
Anyway, it's been a crazy year. I'm happy you were here to talk with me about it, and this is
it was great to do like a half of the year retrospective.
Yeah. So I am,
and a lot of good stuff coming up. I feel like the best is still to come. I feel like in 2022, like by the end of the year, the things that were really great, I feel like we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I think Andor's going to take over, and I think Black Panther Wakanda Forever is going to take over.
For sure.
Those are 2 things that are going to be
amazing. Avatar 2 still has to come out.
Come on, it's going to be a hit.
I will not believe that movie's coming out until I am like watching the opening credits scene, and then I'll be like, oh my god, they made a sequel to Avatar.
You got to.
It won't be till then.
The teaser was pretty good. The teaser is pretty cool.
I didn't like the trailer.
Really?
I didn't like.
Oh, I thought it was.
It was cool. Like, the technology for sure was phenomenal. Was beautiful. It looked very photorealistic. I was just like, James, my boy. But again, James Cameron has made some phenomenal sequels in his day. So
I think the teaser,
and I feel like every time the world has counted James Cameron out, he comes back with true. Like
every time
the best movie of all time. So
time. Yeah.
I hate to be the one to be like discounting James Cameron because historically that doesn't work out for me.
No, look, I think
we'll see.
I think the teaser was just a showcase to be like, it's finally coming, guys. You're in good hands. It's made. I think that's what the teaser was for. I think the trailer will be the story.
It's so much about like the character for me and the story.
It will happen.
That like I need to be with the characters. The technology can only be so good for me. Yeah. Like I need the character and the story to be good.
It'll happen in the next trailer. I guarantee it. I think the teaser was just to show people.
I'm rooting for it. I want it to be good.
Yeah.
I don't want it. Yeah. Cause I'm definitely going to see it. You know what I mean? I'm going to see it no matter what. So I don't want it to be bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we're at the 2.5 hour marker. We're coming up on it, but look, hey, Samee, this has been great. I was talking to the guys yesterday, and something we're going to be thinking about doing is, I'm still going to do one show with the guys, but then I'm going to have a different one with alternating guests. So this will not be the last time I ask you to do a show with me for by any means. So you'll be probably at least a little more often be getting texts and stuff about shows if you'll come back.
We'll see. Nice.
Yeah. So super excited that we were able to do this, and I know a lot of people have been asking about you, so just to show everybody, she is here, she is okay, she is she is fine.
She's been watching Clone Wars, she's been reading books.
Yeah,
she's here.
Exciting stuff. I'm so happy you're in the Star Wars mode. This is
I know I go my whole life. I've gone waves with Star Wars, but like this has been a real big wave. This might be the biggest wave I've ever hit in my adult life.
I really
Star Wars.
You know, it's cool though, because like it's funny. This is actually, you're gonna laugh. You know, like 2 years ago, I was like, damn it, she's like so on the Star Wars deep, dip, and like she's yakking my yum right now. She's yakking my yum, but. And then, like, I'm sure you felt like I was yakking your yum a little bit too, because I was in the So
I was kind of like tired of it. I got I was in a rough spot with it, where I was just tired of everything.
Well, funnily enough, I mean, like, I feel like after you kind of left and everything, like, even I started to take a dip. You know what I mean? Like, for the first time in a long time,
the Force must have balance.
For the first time in a long time, I couldn't watch Star Wars, and then. It wasn't actually until fairly recently, my friend Keaton and I got together and we watched all 9 of the core movies. We threw Solo and Rogue One in there too. We did an 11 movie weekend together where we watched them all.
Hell yeah.
And then when that happened, I kind of got right back up again. And like, for some reason, I've been kind of going in full fledged. So you and I are like right in sync now, finally, with this. And so like we can actually geek out a little bit together, and
we're both equally excited now.
I think now that like Star Wars projects are coming into like a lot more,
there's a lot to be excited for.
It's gonna help.
Yeah,
and I think that we'll actually be able to like hopefully stay in sync now with geeking out about these things. So I'm very happy that you're back.
So the Rise of Skywalker really hurt me as a person, I gotta say. I've calmed down a lot, because I have seen it since, and like I've calmed down a lot. I'm not as angry as I once was, but like that hurt me for a minute.
But that's what made me take my dip on it, because I kept watching it over and over.
Yeah.
And like eventually, like that's what made me take my dip in Star Wars again, was like after you left the show and everything, like I started for some reason like watching like Rise of Skywalker almost obsessively for whatever reason, and then I was like, this really isn't that good. And then like I kept nitpicking it and tearing it apart, and then like I finally just and then I went down on this dip, and it was like for some reason I couldn't put on a Star Wars movie for a very long time, and then eventually like again, it wasn't until just recently like Obi-Wan came out and I watched it and it was cool and all that, but then like after Obi-Wan we had our like big Star Wars weekend, and for some reason since then I'm back in, and I can't kick it. I'm just so back in now, and like for some reason just so I'm going back to old books and stuff again, and I'm really trying to dive right in, and so like I'm glad we're really in sync now on it. So and I'm with you. I did rewatch Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. It's not good, but it's not.
I mean, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's still not good.
No, but it's not that
But like
bad.
I've calmed down. It's not
me too.
Garbage where I need to be mad about it. You know,
I got to the point where it was garbage. Now I'm with you. I calmed down.
And now I'm like, it's fine. I don't have to. I'm just like, I don't need to watch it. I don't need to be mad that it exists. I just don't have to watch it.
So
did you that's where I'm at.
I'll ask you this. I know I said I wasn't going to make this a thing, but have you rewatched The Last Jedi? Has your opinion changed on Last Jedi at all?
I caught it on TV like a while ago where it was on like TNT or something, and I watched like a lot of it. I didn't watch like the whole thing; it had already started, but I watched a good chunk of it. And the thing is, like, it's still like just like the Canto Bite stuff. I don't like. I don't. It's not that I don't like Kelly Marie Tran. It's that I don't like really what they. I don't like how nothing really comes to fruition with her character. She's really just kind of there. I don't like what they do with Poe. I don't like what they do with Finn. But this has always stayed the same though. Everything with Kylo and Rey and Luke, like I love that part. Like I know a lot of people hate like what they did with Luke, and that's a big reason why they hate The Last Jedi. And I'm like, I love that. I've always loved that. Like one of my favorite Star Wars scenes ever is the battle in the throne room thing with Rey and Kylo. Like their whole thing, their storyline, phenomenal. And I mean, that's also probably that's a lot of why Rise of Skywalker hurts so much, is because like I was like, their journey was going to such a good place, or it felt like it was so. I just feel like how much more interesting could Rey and Kylo's romance and relationship be if we knew from if the writers knew from day one that that's where it was going? Because I feel like JJ didn't fully know that. I feel like he hinted at things that could happen, but he didn't know that that's where it was going to go. Imagine what their story could have been like if from the beginning that's what we were building to. That's just what I feel like. But like, I mean, I like what what The Last Jedi does with it though.
That's fair.
It's just knowing that it never comes to fruition, that all of this, like,
it's better than Rise of Skywalker though, right?
It is definitely better than Rise of Skywalker for sure.
Give me that.
I still go. It's 7, 8, 9. Still,
have you?
I feel like it's always been that.
Have you ever watched? I just found this guy recently. Have you watched Patrick Willems at all? His videos?
I haven't. I don't know who that is.
Really good.
Maybe. Wait, hold on. What does he do?
He does film videos, just like real kind of like intro.
I don't think
like they're each about like 10 to 15 minutes long. His videos. Anyway, so I've never hated Canto Bite, and I never really understood why I liked it, but like. He made a video. It's about 10 minutes long. I'm going to send it to you. Just watch it. And it honestly, like, really made me appreciate Canto Bite, like, a lot. Like, it's not, the video's not about Canto Bite. It's about The Last Jedi overall, but it's about 10 minutes long. I'm going to send it to you. Watch it, because he makes a really spectacular point that made me rethink Canto Bite, the whole thing.
I thought it's so unnecessary.
You won't think so, I don't think, after this video. I think you're going to watch it and be like, oh, wait a minute, you know? Because he says something very, very good, like, about that, and I'll send it to you. Give it a watch. I'm just curious to hear your opinion, but anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. Samee, again, thank you for joining. This has been a lot of fun. We need to do this somewhat more often, and I'll give you another. I'll hit you up again for this, so for sure. So anyway, guys, I've been Don Martino. Thank you so much for joining. And before we go, Samee, where can people find you? I know it's like sitting right there in front of you, but
it's right in front of your damn eyes. If you really care that much, it's Samee Ramirez, spelled the way it is, on Twitter, and then Samee Ramirez 14 on Instagram, again spelled the way my parents spelled it.
All right, and also sitting right below me as well, you can see it's at Dom_Martino_ on Twitter, and Dom_Martino_ official on Instagram. It's right in front of me, and I still can't get it right, Samee. Isn't that unbelievable? I still stumble just a little bit every time I read it, but and Twitter, you can follow us at Anorax Official, and on Instagram,
you always have,
have, and I still do. It's right there. It's right fucking there. All right, so
tradition.
And then also, if you're on Spotify or if you're on YouTube, go check out Spotify. And if you're on Spotify, go over to the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, and hit the bell for notifications. I want to thank Samee Ramirez again, and I've been Don Martino, and we will see you guys later.